You see over Gary's left shoulder the Grind City Media sign. You know our old buddy Verno, part of that as well. You can see Gary's show there, grindcitymedia.com. Go follow Gary on Twitter at Gary Parish CBS. Gary, it is always a pleasure. We greatly appreciate you taking a few minutes for us.
My pleasure. Anytime, guys. I appreciate you having me.
All right, buddy. We'll see you soon. Gary with us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. You can read him also at CBSSports.com. Hey, a reminder, most of your teams are out of the playoffs right now, so you can go ahead and shave that playoff beard. We've only got 2 teams left, and maybe you're holding on to that beard because you're a fan of one of those teams. You're going to shave it eventually. You can use the beard hedger. I use it all the time from our friends at Manscaped, and it is a great, great deal. It's got the dial-up guard. It's not guards that pop on and pop off, so they don't pop off at the worst possible time, by the way. You can use those all the time there. It is a great Valentine's Day gift idea. Manscaped.com. How about that lawnmower? If you don't already have it, get it and get ready for Valentine's Day. If you do have it, maybe drop a hint that the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra is a nice little upgrade for you. That takes care of the entire body, including the undercarriage. Safely take care of that there. With the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra, it is your cheat code to look good, feel good, and maintain a trim, clean, shaven look. Manscaped is trusted by more than 10 million men worldwide. If you're not part of that 10 million man group, ask yourself, what am I missing out on? You're missing out on looking the best you can with Manscaped.com. They also got great boxer shorts, male body products, and we're helping you save. Code TNR at Manscaped.com. You get 20% off your first order plus free shipping. Code TNR at Manscaped.com. Make Valentine's Day the best it can be if you're giving a gift or if you're just spending that night with a loved one in your life. Manscaped.com, code TNR, 20% off plus free shipping.
Listen, Nate's got a huge buyout. The only reason I asked the question is I go to a lot of Alabama basketball games. I love the product. Love it. Would love Nate Oates to be the coach at Alabama the rest of my life. There's only a handful of places. Louisville's one of those that I think they have the crazy money to where they could buy out any buyout.
Well, and that facility, too. I think that's the one thing. Like Louisville, you've had multiple coaches win national championships. He could do something in Alabama that has never been done before, but at the same time, you have to do it in Coleman Coliseum.
Yeah,
Nobody can see it.
I hope he stays forever, but Louisville has crazy money, and that job is going to come open with crazy money and maybe the best facility in the country.
It's an amazing facility. Having been there, it is really, really good.
Yeah. All right. That's it for the show today. We're back with you Tuesday morning, 9 a.m. Central Time. Thanks for being a part of the show. Remember, like, subscribe, thumbs up everywhere. A lot more content coming up later today. Disrupt the Media. Go check that out. Until next time, God bless you and God bless America.
The Double Down Media podcast family is live and full of content for all ages. The Mystery Fifth Hour gives the Next Round host a chance to talk about everything but sports. Pour a glass of Bama and bourbon, our weekly college football conversation while sipping some of the most interesting pours in the bourbon world. And our Not For All Ages podcast, The Last Call. LT takes off the gloves for an in-depth conversation with stars like Taylor Hicks, presented by Redmond Vodka. Find those podcasts and more by searching The Next Round on Apple, Spotify, and on our website, nextroundlive.com.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live will share the latest interviews and videos from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and campuses all over the college landscape. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Live Daily Show. Jim, Lance, and Ryan will share their thoughts, and remember, you can always see the old shows on the Next Round Live YouTube channel. Subscribe, like, and don't forget to comment. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. It's Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube.
You've been wearing that thin, raggedy t-shirt for years now, and people cannot stop whispering and staring in your vicinity. We've all been there. Luckily, there's a solution to your lack of fashion and social cues. At NextRound.store, they have plenty of options when it comes to a variety of shirts and hats. Once you start putting that Next Round gear on, be prepared to make new lifelong friends and hundreds of unforgettable conversations. Hope you like random high fives in the street, because that's what you're getting after visiting NextRound.store.
You want to look great while supporting your favorite show? You know the place to go is the official Next Round store at nextround.store. Yes, there are .store domains, and we have one. From shirts to hoodies to hats and all kinds of fun stuff, you can rep the Next Round anywhere you go. At the beach, Next Round hats to block out that sun. Up north in the winter, get you a comfy Next Round hoodie. Just need something to put your $20 beer in at a game? Get you a Next Round koozie and throw that thing in your pocket. You never know what stuff Jim's going to make me put in there next. Check it out. It's the Next Round store at nextround.store.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, and Rockstar. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
The world we live in, LT's neighbor in the chat room off the top of the show and off the top rope. Is the NCAA dead yet? As of 9 a.m. Central Time on this February the 6th, not yet.
Life support.
Maybe.
I would say in hospice.
In hospice. We will talk about the ruling from the National Labor Relations Board in Boston last night that could impact the NCAA and all of us eventually down the road. We'll get to that. Basketball, Stephen Pearl joins us. He's in the next segment. But we start things off getting ready for the Super Bowl coming up this weekend. And the teams were talking last night, a lot of conversation about even the 49ers practice field yesterday. They're upset with the practice field out in Vegas. They're the visitors, so they don't get the cool Raiders location. I don't see how they don't just alternate practice times and everybody use the Raiders.
How long does the practice last in the NFL?
Yeah, they probably want to do it up and put the Raiders logos, or put KC's logos, San Francisco's logos.
Well, just put it like it's the game.
Just do it exactly how you'd paint the
I
field.
just don't understand how you've had so long knowing this thing's coming to Vegas, how you wouldn't have top shelf facilities everywhere.
Yeah, where's the other facility? So
UNLV.
So they've got an on-campus, UNLV does?
Yeah, their practice facility.
I can't imagine that's great.
Where the Running Rebels. Well, it's field turf, and so much like they're going to play on in the Super Bowl, wait and see if you've heard this, they're going to play on the tray system again like they did last year, which is an indoor game, and they're going to bring in natural grass, which sits on a tray, which will set on field turf. So that's what the 49ers have. They've got the tray system of loose sod sitting on top of the field turf, and they say it's way too soft.
Yeah, I didn't realize you had a hardness scale of fields.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about the hardness scale, LT.
That's all it is these days.
So the NFL hardness score for fields averages 78, with no field score being less than 70. The Niners field for the week landed somewhere in the 50s.
Ooh, that does sound soft.
That does sound soft.
50s in the hardness scale, Lance?
Yes. In fact,
we need a pit bull in there.
I'm going to call that disappointing.
Yeah, Rockstar, if you ever have a 50s in the hardness scale, what do you do?
I don't. I enjoy it. It's not hard enough.
I think I take a nap.
Yeah, it's not hard enough.
I'll go ahead and tell you that maybe the practice facility has a lot on its mind. Maybe it's stressed. Maybe it's tired, overworked.
You don't know what I'm putting up with at work.
Hey, and it happens. And I'll go ahead and tell you, it happens to all practice fields at some point.
It does.
It's nothing to be embarrassed about.
That's what she said.
I just wonder what prima donna walks on there, though, and he's like, that's too soft.
Hey, can y'all come over here and test the hardness scale?
Do you think everybody walks out and they look at each other and they're like, damn, because this is not like, you remember old Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia where the turf is uneven and it's like an inch higher in different places.
There were cracks where the seams met.
That's right.
I get that.
They wouldn't play on that. No, but I mean, I know you said prima donna, but if it's my living...
Right.
Before
the biggest game ever?
Before the biggest game I'm ever going to play.
And there's some seams?
Yeah.
I say that loosely. I'm kidding. I mean, if George Kittle blows a knee on this turf.
That's a big deal.
Yeah. Instantly, you know what I thought about? And I wish I remember who the kid was in our chat room who made the bet on Sam Darnold being MVP. But on a soft turf, Brock Purdy practicing just dropping back, slips on that turf, tweaks the knee, boom, here's Sam Darnold getting the start on Sunday.
I think the best thing you want if you have that prop, is for Brock Purdy to go down in the first series or two. You don't want Sam Darnold all week knowing
That's
he's
right.
starting.
Yeah, I want him coming in.
There it is, Seth.
Seth, way to go, Seth. 100 to win 18,000.
I mean,
You love Seth sitting on the couch. Go down, blow a knee, blow a knee.
Soft turf. Hit him late.
Soft turf.
Hit him late.
Yeah, absolutely, Seth. Why not? Take the risk. We got a hundy to burn.
I mean, there's probably a good example of this, but I just cannot remember it. In the Super Bowl, can you remember a starting quarterback getting knocked out of the game? I cannot remember that happening. Like, obviously, it was the NFC Championship game, Eagles-49ers, where the 49ers were down to Christian McCaffrey, but that was not the Super Bowl. I can't remember it happening in the Super Bowl.
Either. You know, I told you guys I was watching yesterday on Super Bowl 51, the replay where New England takes it down and they take Atlanta to overtime, blowing that 28-3 lead. That was the first time in 51 years, or the first time we've ever had an overtime Super Bowl.
I remember, I think it was the one in Jacksonville where Donovan McNabb was sick, right? But he never left the game.
Nope.
But I mean, I
left the game before he did.
You left the game.
Well, back in the old days, it was injuries before they got to the Super Bowl.
Right.
Earl Morrall
Yep.
Was the quarterback who replaced Johnny Unitas, and later Earl Morrall was the quarterback who replaced Bob Greasy in big runs.
Yeah, Nick Foles, Vince Ferragamo.
Yeah, but I cannot think of a quarterback that went down during a Super Bowl. I mean, how anticlimactic would that be?
It would be. But if it's going to happen to anybody, it seems like it would happen to the 49ers.
I guess so. They've dealt with it before.
They seem to deal with this thing. So the Super Bowl is getting closer and closer. We will do prop bets later on, I guess, this week, especially when Furman joins us. But for those that are keeping up, not that she's the only one, but there are over 100 prop bets on Taylor Swift for the Super Bowl. Over 100.
Oh, wow.
But there's over 100 on Usher and the halftime show, too. So they throw out a lot of prop bets now.
Trying to get that money.
Actually, too many.
Yeah, the NFL is probably involved with it. We're all hypocrites to a degree, right?
Right.
I don't think there's any doubt. The NFL is probably the most hypocritical brand out there. When you go back and how taboo gambling was.
They've embraced it now.
And now we're sitting in Las Vegas for a Super Bowl?
Yeah. You know, I was reading, Lance, you have always claimed, and I'd not thought of it from this angle, you have always claimed that you thought the semifinal upset of UNLV by Duke was...
Oh, I think it was fixed.
The most fixed game of all time.
Yeah.
So for those that don't remember, UNLV was a one-loss national champion the year before, and in the semifinals ran Duke by 30 points.
Yep.
Or was it in the finals? It was the finals, ran Duke by 30 points.
Yeah, it was
right?
national championship.
National championship game. Not even close. Same exact UNLV team comes back, undefeated the whole year. Easily the best team in college basketball, and Duke beats them by like a point in the semis. And I never had thought of this aspect, but I was reading an article since this game is in Vegas and the gambling aspect, and it was talking about that. It was talking about how taboo it once was, and now here's the NFL playing in Las Vegas. UNLV games could not be bet at Las Vegas casinos.
No, neither could Nevada Reno.
Yeah, and
anything in-state was off the board.
So if UNLV had made the national championship game for a second consecutive year, that was one of the biggest betting days in Vegas that would go by the wayside.
Yeah, you couldn't wager on that game.
So basically the Final Four, they could wager on one game for 2 straight years. And that was, the article was saying, that is the theory now that, was it Larry Johnson?
Yeah, Larry Johnson and Stacey Ogman were both allegedly, and there was pictures out there, I think, of them in with some local guys that had a little juice.
Hot
tub, right?
Yeah, in a hot tub. And it wasn't, and that's what the article was talking about, was the photo that later surfaced to them in the hot tub, near the game. And I had always, when you brought that up, I'd always thought you were talking about just being fixed for the betting purposes of that game. But actually, it's a much bigger story because you couldn't bet on that game in Vegas.
Look, I'm sure those guys were compensated nicely if, in fact, that allegedly went down. Here's the difference, though, now. And I've always said this, I don't think you can manipulate and fix a game because these guys are making too much money. Let's say that somebody approached George Kittle and they were like, hey, we need you to drop a critical pass. Or Trent Williams, we need a hold. These guys are making $15, $20 million a year. There's no amount you could give them. Back in 1991, you could give Larry Johnson or Stacey Ogman $25,000, and that is massive. That's game-changing for those guys.
And for the pros back then, I mean, you had some pros that were making, $260,000 a year.
You just, look, could an official be bought off? Yeah, look, there's a world we live in where that could happen.
It has in the NBA.
Yeah, I just don't think that there's a world you could live in where any of these players get paid off.
Yeah, it'd be tough right now, I would think.
Yeah. All right, so Super Bowl countdown. We'll get to more of that coming up later on. Last night was last night the media night, or was that tonight? I think it was last night.
Today, Tuesdays typically they.
I thought we did something last night. It was last night, wasn't it?
I know Goodell met the media last night too.
We did that yesterday afternoon, and
I thought it was always Tuesday, but
I think they fast forward that up now on Mondays.
Yeah.
And that shows you the lack of coverage it gets now. Is that they used to be all during the screens during the day, but they do it in prime time at night. But Lunsford is telling me it was last night. In the State of the League address, he was asked, Roger Goodell, about fixing with Taylor Swift. He laughed at that. He says, now, obviously, we're benefiting from her being part of the league, but we have nothing to do with it. He was asked about fixing the games, and he's like, listen, the integrity of the game is our top priority. It's priority 1, 2, and 3, and that's, we didn't legalize gambling in this country, but since it's legalized,
since it's a billion-dollar industry, we're going to embrace it now.
That's what he said. He 100% said that. Yeah, he said, why would we not embrace it?
I mean, why would they not embrace Taylor Swift? You're bringing in a different demographic.
He did embrace it, yeah.
When it's ultimately said and done, she could be worth $1 billion to the
There's no telling.
He said, we're very thankful that she decided to have an impact on our league, but we have nothing to do with it. But he's absolutely, it's benefiting us. He didn't shy away from it. So interesting last night out in Vegas, Super Bowl. By the way, Vegas is a center point tonight in sports where Edmonton, the Oilers play the Las Vegas Knights, and Edmonton can set a all-time win streak, 16 straight they've won.
It's hard to believe that's a lot in hockey. But it's hard to believe when you go back to the Edmonton days, Mark Messier and Wayne Gretzky and those Grant Fuhr, those great Oilers teams that won multiple Stanley Cups, that they didn't pull this feat off.
1992-93 Penguins is who they're trying to tie tonight. 17 straight wins. That's without a draw. You get a lot of ties.
Yeah, I don't know what the NBA record is. I mean, it just seems
33.
Like huh?
Lakers 33.
Lakers 33 straight wins. Major League Baseball's got to be more than 16, I would think. NFL's more than 16. It's interesting. I'm just saying it's interesting that hockey's got the lowest number. I don't know what that equates to.
Yeah, that's without a draw. That's straight wins.
Yeah, straight wins.
Yeah, I mean, that's ridiculous.
So that's in Las Vegas tonight. I can imagine how crowded that city is. And then you're going to squeeze into the hockey arena tonight for a little hockey action.
I would say, there was a time in place where I really wanted to do Radio Row Super Bowl probably 15, 20 years ago. I've had no desire in the last decade, but just watching every time you turn on, whether it's Sirius XM, any of these shows, almost everybody's in Las Vegas right now, and they got there yesterday, and I grinded out a full week.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine.
Yeah, it sounds awful. It really does. I've had people ask me before, do you guys not want to go do a show from, I think they call it Media Row now because there's so many shows like us that are no longer doing radio. I'm like, I have zero interest. It is a bunch of blowhards crammed into the same room.
Yeah, crammed is the key word.
Yeah, and every former NFL player that was once great is pimping Blue Emu or Skechers sneakers or something like that. It's just the awkward interview of, hey, Joe Montana's with us. Joe, we talk football for a minute. Then, Joe, those are some nice shoes you're wearing.
Yeah. You're wearing a Guinness T-shirt?
Yeah, Joe.
Tell us about Guinness?
That's an interesting T-shirt.
And you only get 5 minutes with them.
Yeah,
But if we were in a market like Nashville and we had a professional team, I'm sure we would be out there.
I guess so.
Now, we would have to adjust the time, though. Like, we couldn't be doing this show at 7 o'clock Vegas time. We'd have to have an afternoon show out there.
I've never understood why you want to change the show based on time zone we're in.
Well, because because you're still staying up to a regular time, but then you're getting up 2 hours earlier, right? Yeah. Las Vegas would be tough.
Yeah, Las Vegas would be very difficult.
Well,
I get that.
Technically, we just did it. You'll remember that.
Yeah, I do remember that. Yes,
we did it for a day.
Yes,
2 different times, and it did lay with us for a while. All right, we'll get into the college football news that are making headlines, and then to basketball. Stephen Pearl on the eve of Auburn hosting Alabama in our next segment. Show being brought to you by our friends at Way to Wellness, your journey to healthy living. I was by there yesterday. A little bit later on, I'll be enjoying this caramel crunch. It's the best one, I think.
That's a good one.
It's the 100 grand bar. I eat 4 of these a day, throw in a lunch and dinner of my own choosing. Last night, I made a little homemade chicken salad. I'd grilled up some chicken, and I said, man, I'm tired of just eating some chicken or steak or whatever, so I made some homemade chicken salad.
You put grapes in it?
I was about to say, do you put grapes in yours?
I like grapes.
I'm good either way. It's good with grapes, good without.
I went grapes in it, a little chopped up celery as well, some onion in it. And
now you lost me.
Any pecans?
No pecans.
No,
I
don't like pecans in it.
Nope. I like nuts by themselves. chop that out.
Pretty good.
Little mayonnaise on some toasted bread. Threw that on there. It was so good last night.
I can't believe you went to the trouble of making chicken salad.
I was bored yesterday, man. And I'm on some heavy medication to try to get this stuff kicked out of my head.
I went to
not mentally all the drainage and stuff from the sinuses.
I went to a grocery store that you go to, Brown.
Yeah.
They used to kind of sort of be a sponsor, I guess.
Okay. Yep.
But when I was driving past there, I drove past the golf course, and all I could think about was Dunaway. I was like, it's a nice day. You got to be out on the golf course.
No, I played Saturday, and until we get our schedule finalized up here, I'm trying to not schedule things until I know when we're doing things and not doing things. Like Mystery Fifth Hours now on a Friday, not on a Monday.
Did you know Dunaway's the last to know everything up there?
Yeah. So I'm keeping my weekdays open for the time being until I can see how everything's going to land up here on the Mystery Fifth Hour and things like that.
I didn't know we had big things to lock in up here. Do we?
A lot of
Mystery
moving
Fifth
parts.
Hour's been on Fridays for quite a while now. You could go ahead and book the Fridays on that one.
Rockstar, how many Mystery Fifth Hours have we done on Fridays, you think?
Oh, God, I don't know. We had trouble with about a month or so where we had.
Yeah, I don't think we've ever done one on a Monday.
We used to,
do
but
all
that's
on
been
Mondays.
months ago. It's been on Friday for quite a
Then it
while.
switched to Wednesdays for a while. And it's hard to get consistent.
Our friends at Way to Wellness will keep you consistent with your diet if you're trying to jumpstart some weight loss this year. No contract, no sign-up fees. Your first consultation is free. All you have to do is go to this website, aplanforme.com. Aplanforme.com. It is Way to Wellness, your journey to healthy living. They can do so much for you. Right there at Way to Wellness. One news for Alabama fans that's going to make them feel a little bit better, I think. Ryan Williams isn't waiting until his birthday on Friday. He has decided, I'm going to sign with my Saraland teammates on National Signing Day at 10 a.m. He puts this announcement out last night on social media. By the way, this kid posts more on social media than Taylor Corn does.
Saying something.
Hollywood is there for a reason. I'll be signing Wednesday, February 7th at 10 a.m. with my team.
Can I say that is a very mature decision by him because, unfortunately, his teammates wouldn't get the same amount of attention with him signing on another day as they would with him signing that day.
To your point, the local TV cameras and
they wouldn't show up for the teammates.
Showed up for the teammates. They would
They'll
show up on
for
Friday.
Him. So good for him.
Yeah, would you guys, if you're not Kalen DeBoer, say, hey, look, it's totally your decision, but you got a lot going on your birthday. Focus on family and your time.
You're saying you want that letter in as quick as possible.
And maybe, do this with your team because they get a little exposure that they're probably never going to get again that you will continue to get.
No, that's a nice move by him. He certainly has caught a lot of attention by the way he's handled his recruitment and some criticism. But I think this is a mature move to really be a good teammate one last time at Saraland and get your brothers that helped you get where you are, get them a little attention. Nice of him to do it that way.
LT's neighbor, Jim, are you still worried about him? Are you the only one still worried about him? Until letter is signed, man. Yeah. I'm a hay in the barn kind of guy. And Kevin says, Dunaway, I'm looking forward to seeing you and Suttles tomorrow. Don't landmine us. If you're a member of Yay, Alabama or the Red Elephant Club, Aaron Suttles and I are doing a show tomorrow afternoon from over at the stadium. From about 2:15 through the afternoon, that will include Kalen DeBoer and his coaching staff, and we'll be breaking down National Signing Days, all the transfer portal guys, and everything else setting up for the Tide. You got to be a member of Yay Alabama to see that streamed there. So if you're not, go see that, and if you're a Red Elephant Club member, you'll be there. So looking forward to doing that with Aaron Suttles, who is by today up here at Double Down Media to have a conversation with LT for Bama and Bourbon today.
Yeah, he was traveling with the A Alabama and the coaches yesterday, so we moved it until today, and this will be the first Bama and Bourbon where I will not be participating.
You're just going to smell the bourbon?
I will smell the bourbon.
Smells great, Aaron.
Yeah. I will ask Aaron his thoughts. I've actually had the bourbon we're actually sampling today, so I know exactly what it's all about. It's a good one, though.
You can talk about it. So Bama and Bourbon recorded today. Set your alerts. It'll be coming out on all our platforms. One other thing, Alabama's still finalizing their first coaching staff. Everyone's still waiting for that final announcement that Ryan Grubb is the offensive coordinator in Tuscaloosa, or is he in Seattle? We'll find out when it's finally signed, dealed, and officially announced by Alabama. But they did get a couple of coaches added yesterday. William Ing. I-N-G-E? How are you going to say
it's
that?
It's either Inge or Ing.
I think I'd go Inge.
I'll go Inge.
This seems like a kind of a desperation special teams hire.
Well, he's a linebacker coach that's coming in. An older guy that was with him at Washington, Jay Nunez, is the special teams guy.
Okay.
Right?
I had read that because Inge has special teams experience. When the gang was all together in Bloomington, he was a special teams guy.
Well,
so I had read that he was going to be special teams.
He may be special teams guy, and Nunez was an off-the-field analyst at Oklahoma. He may stay off the field in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, that's what I've read.
Okay, both of those guys were added, Nunez and Inge, and I think by my addition, counting Ryan Grubb, that gives you a head coach and 10 assistants, whether they're all on the field or not, on this Alabama coaching staff, the first under Kalen DeBoer. Later in the show, I don't know how much you guys put into David Hell's returning production rankings.
Less now than ever. Yeah, less now than ever.
Because of the portal, right?
Yeah, the portal changes it, and guys just come in ready to play as freshmen more often than not now.
Yeah. Surprising team leads the way in the SEC, and Alabama has a surprising number. We'll talk about that after we talk to Stephen Pearl coming up in the next segment. When we get ready for basketball. Tomorrow night, it's Alabama and Auburn in a big one. Yesterday, Lenardi's bracketology has Alabama as a 3 seed, Auburn as a 4 seed, Tennessee's a 2 seed in the SEC. There you see the bracketology. Alabama number 10 overall, Auburn number 14 overall. So it's a high-impact quad 1 game down at Neville Arena tomorrow night. We will talk to Stephen Pearl about that showdown and Auburn's big win at Ole Miss when we come back on the show that's being brought to you today in part by our friends at Odie's.
Yeah, Odie's Tavern tomorrow night. How about this? We're going to get going a little after 8 o'clock. The Alabama-Auburn game tips at 6. So you'll have an opportunity to come in there after that game. We will go live. I know Rockstar is hoping for like a triple, quadruple overtime.
I want game. I want drama.
Let's play too, Rockstar.
Yeah, I want drama.
Yeah, so we will have that. They'll have all the TVs on Auburn and Alabama, so make sure you stop by. And then a little after that game, we will get started with Odie's Team Trivia. We do that every Wednesday night at the original location at Crestline. Get there early, enjoy the game, enjoy incredible food from Rodney Davis, award-winning wings, delicious burgers, great sandwiches, including that Diablo sandwich. Newest location in Homewood. Stop and see Will Haver and those great staffs, Odie's Tavern.
Follow Brownie on Twitter and Instagram at Ryan Brown Live.
Spring weather is here, and our friends at Hemp Hill Services are offering a $69 HVAC tune-up plus 10% off any service call when you mention the next round. Call Adam, Chad, and the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Make sure your HVAC unit is ready to keep up with the changing weather. Hemp Hill Services, locally owned and operated independent train dealer. The team can service all makes and models. For all of your plumbing, heating, and cooling needs, call Hemp Hill Services. It's hard to stop a train. 205-229-2090 or hemphillservices.com. That's 205-229-2090, hemphillservices.com.
The next round is so much more than the show you get from 9 to 1 each day. So make sure to head to our official YouTube channel at Next Round Live and subscribe to get all of our latest content. We, of course, have plenty of specialty content and shorts based all around the sports in the heart of the SEC. But we also talk pro sports, gambling, lifestyle and entertainment, and so much more. It's the Next Round YouTube channel where you never know what you're going to find next. Subscribe now to see the latest content and get notifications when we go live. That's at Next Round Live on YouTube.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop, rare quality, well-done service. Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about our friends at Gutter Cap. Gutter Cap's that patented aluminum cover system that fits over most existing gutters to keep out debris and eliminate that gutter cleaning. It's backed with a lifetime warranty, almost 20-year service record right here in Birmingham. Stay off that dangerous ladder forever. 45% off the retail price now if you call guttercapbirmingham.com. Call my good friend Chris Stewart now, 205-823-2212. Cap it, don't snap it. It's Gutter Cap. Hey, let me tell you about our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama. Compassionate and comprehensive urological care with 35 physicians, 17 locations across Alabama. Their patient-centered approach to all of your urological needs. Remember, they've got that new men's health center. It is beautiful, helping men with a wide range of sensitive male issues in a comfortable environment. You can always go online, visit urologycentersalabama.com, schedule an appointment with one of their many urologists today.
Support the show and grab some great t-shirts and hoodies right now in the Next Round store. Buy the Alabama State Map shirts in your team's favorite colors, the popular Y'all Can Have the Rest or Next Round flag shirts are also online now. Just go to nextround.store. That's nextround.store. The traditional Next Round logo shirts are there too. Buy them for yourself, or they make a great gift for someone else. And let us know what you'd like to see in the store coming up. Nextround.store. That's nextround.store.
In just a second, we'll talk to Stephen Pearl about basketball happening tomorrow night. Last night, as I projected, Kansas State beat Kansas, another road team facing an unranked team, and coming off a big win for Kansas over Houston. They can't back it up against Kansas State, 75-70. So anytime you win on the road, anytime, anywhere, it's a big deal.
Well, look, I know in the SEC we've talked about that, how difficult it is to win on the road, but the Big 12, I mean, that conference is a gauntlet. Kansas plays maybe the best 20 minutes of basketball in the first half against Houston, and then they turn around and they blow an 11-point second-half lead on the road in Manhattan.
There is no difference between the SEC and the Big 12. Zero difference.
Well, outside of the fact that the Big 12 wins national championships, I mean, outside of that, yeah. I'll say this year. And I know you're playing up for our next guest.
No.
But I mean, the fact of the matter is the Big 12 is the best conference in basketball.
I don't need to play up with Steven. He likes me regardless of my flaws. But 9 bids from both the Big 12 and the SEC right now. It's equally
okay, when the SEC can win some national championships,
Stephen Pearl is with us, the Auburn coach. Do you like Dunaway in spite of his flaws, Stephen?
Yeah, I love Dunaway in spite of his flaws. That's for sure.
He's such an ass kisser, though. He really is. I like that.
He
hoodie,
plays to his audience.
Hey, that hoodie's sweet.
That's back-to-back weeks we've complimented Stephen's hoodie.
Yeah. Speaking of ass kissing.
No, I mean, I don't kiss
this
ass.
This one's from Home Field. I'm trying to get an NIL deal at some point. So this is from Home Field, and I wish they would sponsor me, but I think they're Indiana alumni, and since we kicked their ass by 28 points, they're probably not going to help me out anytime soon.
At least you hadn't done a deep dive knowing exactly everything about Home Field.
All right, so let's go back to halftime in Oxford.
Well, real quickly, I guess you're out on Blue Delta jeans now, too, after you kicked Ole Miss's ass this weekend.
Yeah, probably not going to work on that one either.
That's like a $400 pair of jeans. I think I'd be nervous to wear them. I spilled too much stuff in my lap. Let's go back to halftime in Oxford. Jalen Williams said after the game, and then all of the other players are talking about it, that basically Chad Baker-Mazara said, everybody out of the locker room, this is players only. As a coach, when you see that happen, I mean, how does that affect you? I mean, like, what are you thinking? Like, well, I've actually got some adjustments to make. Did you want to see that happen? I mean, what was the reaction of the coaches?
Well, I mean, being perfectly honest, like most of the coaches were actually in the hallway. So BP had walked in to address the team initially, and that's when Chad had kicked out like the managers, BP, and the trainers. So he really kicked out the head coach, which is kind of a ballsy move. So we didn't really know about it. The assistant coaches didn't know about it till after the game. But, I think that just shows, I think how close this team is. And I think it also shows how much BP trusts the players to kind of run their locker room. Because at the end of the day, we can only do so many things. It's really their team, and it's really up to them if they want to win or lose games. So I think Chad's someone that everyone respects, and I think his voice is very well respected, and it's heard when he does speak up in the locker room. So, it was definitely something, that was obviously a positive, and it's something that, they obviously held on to. But, looking at that first half, I mean, people think that, being down 9 at Ole Miss, a team that's undefeated at home, is like such a bad thing. Like they played great in the first half, and I thought we played pretty well too. It's just, when you're playing a team that, is a 29-point different type team at home, like you're going to get down. So, I mean, people were panicking, and I saw all the tweets and all the messages, and everyone saying, oh, same old Auburn on the road. No, it's just life on the road. You talked about it as we were opening up, like Kansas goes to Kansas State, who's probably like in the 70s in Ken Palm or something, and they're blowing 11-point lead. It's just hard to win on the road, and you're going to get down on the road, and it's about being able to stay composed and not panic. And I thought our guys did a really good job of just kind of staying with the game plan. You can't really switch too many things up when they're just making contested shots. And we were getting good looks offensively, and we were making shots early, so we felt pretty confident that we'd be able to come out in the second half and continue to stick to what we would do and wear them out over a 40-minute game. And sure enough, they got tired in the second half. And then offensively, everything just kind of opened up, and everything got a lot easier as the game went on. So credit to our guys for staying composed, staying together. And Chad obviously had a big piece of that with what he said at halftime.
Hey, you guys have played some dominant basketball at times this year, but that final 20 minutes, I mean, going 22 of 30 from the field, outscoring them 56-33 on the road, is that the best half of basketball you guys have played this year?
Yeah, I mean, on the road, 56-33, I would say it's probably our best half of basketball. Making 12 threes on the road. I think our guys heard that you were questioning how many threes we were taking on the road. They kind of pissed them off, so they decided to just shove it in your face and go 12 for 27.
Yeah, as long as you make some, you can't take too many.
Yeah, I mean, it's good. I mean, that we played really well, and our guys executed. But I think part of it too is Ole Miss got tired in the second half, and I mean that environment. I mean that was an unbelievable environment. That's probably the toughest environment we've played in or we will play in all year. Like that place has Neville Arena vibes, but a little bigger. Honestly, it's it's probably 1,000 seats more, but that was an impressive environment, and for our guys to execute in the way they did says a lot about our composure and our guys just kind of staying locked in. And I mean that was probably our best half of basketball that we played this year.
Stephen Pearl is with us, associate head coach Auburn basketball on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. Obviously, Janai Broome was unaware Morgan Freeman was sitting courtside initially. Had you seen him there? Did you realize, you may not even have seen the interaction initially, but did you realize it was Morgan Freeman that was grabbing his jersey, not just a random fan?
I didn't see it live like in the game, but we saw him as we walked out. I think Morgan Freeman's 0-3 when we played in that building. So I hope Morgan shows up every year for the Ole Miss game because he hasn't been great for him. But it was pretty funny seeing it after the game and seeing Janai's reaction to it. Obviously, he's a big fan, and the game was getting kind of chippy. So Janai kind of had his guard raised because Brakefield kind of headbutted Janai in the middle of the game. So the fans were, I'm not going to lie, they were crazy before the game, some of the stuff that they were saying to our guys. So our guys were kind of on edge a little bit with that. So it didn't surprise me how Janai reacted, but it was really funny how he came back and apologized. And, Morgan Freeman seemed to be pretty cool about it. So unbelievable environment. And, they pulled out all the stops. They had Marshall Henderson come out in the pregame and lead their pregame cheer. And he texted me after the game, and it was funny. So they did, they did just about everything they possibly could to make that environment the way it was, and it felt even better to get the win when everything was going on.
So here comes Alabama, and I have a feeling even though you lost the game in Tuscaloosa, we talked to you after that game, it seemed like you were still proud of a lot of things you guys did in that game. In a rematch scenario, how much do game plans change, and having a look at the other opponent, does that help you as you game plan a second time around?
I mean, game plans change a little bit, but at the end of the day, it's about understanding their personnel, understanding some of the mistakes that we made in that game, and just the adjustments that we have to make. Understanding where their strong suits are and how to guard them. We obviously did a terrible job of crashing the defensive glass. They had 16 offensive rebounds, and a lot of those, happened late when they were able to get buckets late in the game off of offensive rebounds. And, we sent them to the line too much in the second half, and just too many breakdowns, too many turnovers in the first half. And, obviously it's playing on the road, it's difficult. We were down 14 in the first half, and our guys did a pretty good job of staying composed and, battling back into that game. And sure enough, we had a free throw to tie it with, 16 seconds left in the game. So, you got to make adjustments, but the fact that we're playing them so close to when we just recently played them, similar to Ole Miss and Vanderbilt, there's not a ton that changes between now and then. So, each team will make a few tweaks on each end. But at the end of the day, it's about sitting down, guarding your man one-on-one, and keep him off the offensive glass.
Do you expect to see Nick Pringle in this game? Obviously, he's one of those big bodies that they would throw at Janai Broom underneath. He's been suspended. Do you plan on seeing him? Does Diabate bring maybe something to the table that you didn't see in the earlier game?
Yeah, I mean, I would expect him to play. He's been out for a couple games, so we prepare as if he is going to play. Now, I think him playing. I think offensively they're better without him, honestly. But defensively, he brings a piece that some of those younger bigs aren't going to be able to bring in a physicality. But you looked at the first game. They played a couple of those guys. 13 minutes between the other two bigs. So without Pringle, obviously Grant Nelson will play more 5, which makes them better offensively. So we're going to prepare as if Pringle is going to play, but got to be ready for if he's not as well.
A few more moments with Auburn Associate Head Coach Stephen Pearl on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. Obviously, it's an emotional game no matter where you play it, but in your arena, which is one of the most difficult places to play, that crowd will be juiced. Is there a concern among coaches about players getting too juiced? I mean, can that happen?
In rivalry games that happens. And if you looked at game 1, there was a few chippy plays that happened. So I would imagine that our players will have that in the back of their minds. And we'll obviously be ready to go out and do the talk with our playing. But yeah, rivalry games are way different, and it just I hate to say it just means more, but it does mean more when you're playing Alabama. So you got to be able to try and control it in the game, but understand that kids are going to be kids, and it's an added element to the game that could be a positive and could be a negative. You just got to go out there and trust your guys to kind of do their jobs and handle their business.
Hey, back to Oxford. I asked you about the best half of basketball. What about Chad Baker's dunk a little under 2 minutes to go? To me, that's like maybe the most electrifying moment I have seen for you guys this year. Where does that one rank?
Yeah, that was a good one. Chad is he doesn't jump very high, but he's so long that we were worried that he was going to get hung on the rim. So when he made it, it was awesome. It was a cool moment. KD Johnson being KD, as the ball's bouncing on the ground, he screams at the ball. I don't know if you saw that on the replay, but that was really funny. And then a possession later, we're trying to run the clock out, and Trey goes to the basket, misses a layup, and KD comes in behind him and dunks it and hangs on the rim like a crazy person. And I'm telling BP, I was like, you got to live with that technical foul, because they were just they're just juiced up and obviously excited to get the win. So that sequence was a lot of fun and really cool. And our guys, obviously, from all the hard work and time, they deserved that win. And it was just a nice way to kind of end it with an exclamation point with those guys finishing off the game the way they did.
All right, it is Auburn playing host to Alabama, Neville Arena tomorrow night. Coach, thank you very much for the time. We'll see you next week.
All right, guys. Appreciate it. War Eagle.
All right, enjoyed it. Coach Stephen Pearl with us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. He is very kind to join us every Tuesday at 9:25.
And little T will be there for us, giving you all the behind-the-scenes stuff on our social media platforms, on Instagram, TikTok, and on Twitter, on X. So make sure you're tuned into that, liking and subscribing, everything you get there. And we appreciate the likes on that. It helps us tremendously. She'll be there early in the day, and a lot of programming around that game on our social media platforms. So feel free to check that out at Next Round Live on all the platforms there. Show being brought to you by a couple of great sponsors. One of them, our friends at the University of Montevallo. If you're looking for a wonderful place for your son or daughter to call home during college, check out Montevallo. First entryway getting information about Montevallo is montevallo.edu. Montevallo.edu. Get all the information you need about the school there and schedule an in-person tour. Great place, fraternities, sororities, on-campus life, wonderful academics, and 23 NCAA Division II fully funded scholarship sports. Schedule that in-person tour and get more information at montevallo.edu, montevallo.edu. Show also being brought to you by our friends at Michelson Laser Vision, LT.
Yeah, make the phone call that I made over 2 decades ago, 205-969-8100. Ask for Amy Toe, the Next Round sent you. Ask her about that pre-inflation pricing as well. I had the 2200 vision. I was legally blind without the aid of contacts. I was wasting money each and every year on contacts and solution. Went to see Dr. Mark Michelson, the first to perform the surgery of LASIK in the state of Alabama back in 1995. I've got 2015 vision, better than 2020. Make the call that I made, 205-969-8100. For more information, michelsonlaservision.com.
Janai Broome, your SEC Player of the Week for Auburn after what he did last week for the Tigers. Again, I told you, Lenardi's got Auburn on the 4 line, Alabama on the 3 line. That could flip a little bit or get a little closer together after the game tomorrow night down there at Neville Arena for that one. One other note here before we take our next break is if you're not paying attention to college basketball, there may be a team not in the bracket this year that was always a given. Have you noticed that Gonzaga is on the outside looking in right now?
Yeah.
We talked about that. They're losing in-season league games, which I can't recall that with Mark Few.
They are still, now, here, two things here. They're still 26th in the net. And keep in mind, we focus a lot on Ken Palm. You just heard Stephen Pearl mention Ken Palm. That's the one everybody, all the coaches look at. They're 21st there. It's hard for me to believe 21st in Ken Palm, 26th in the net, they're left out of this thing.
Well, and they've got a brand.
Exactly.
And there is something that goes down to that.
The other thing, though, is, and we talked a lot about Auburn's quad 1 and how badly they needed a quad 1 win. Gonzaga's 0-5. They do not have a quad 1 win. If
they don't play another game.
They don't get chances to do that. If they get to the end of the year without a quad 1 win,
they don't play another one.
So they couldn't get St. Mary's in the conference tournament?
St. Mary's is nowhere near ranked anymore, I don't think.
Well, St. Mary's is 21, but if they played them, it'd be a quad 1.
They just played this weekend and lost. So
I know, but they could get them in the conference tournament.
They could. Yeah.
But, I mean, if they get to the end of the year and have 0 quad 1s.
Yeah. If you got the Lenardi sheet again, Lenardi right now, bracketology, not even first 4 out or next 4 out, way below. You see the next after the first 4 out, next 4 out, then you get Gonzaga. So they're currently 9 spots out of the NCAA tournament. Now, they're in a league that oftentimes in history has been a 1-bid league or a 2-bid league with Gonzaga's brand. They can get to the tournament, West Coast Conference tournament, and win that tournament.
Yeah, I mean, we could see Gonzaga in a play-in game. Where is San Francisco right now?
In the net?
Yeah.
You'll have to give me a second.
The only reason I'm asking that is they play on the road at San Francisco, and San Francisco's a pretty good team this year.
That's right.
So, I mean, they're worst case quad 2.
That could be a quad 1 win you're mentioning.
On the road.
San Francisco's 63rd, so if they play them on the road, that is if they stay in the top 75, that is a quad 1.
Yeah, but usually by this point, the debate for Gonzaga is, are they going to be a 1 seed or a 2 seed?
Or the overall one.
They're going to come east, or they're going to play out west.
And you can make a case, how weak their conference schedule has been over the years, but they've been to 2 championship games, right?
Lost to North Carolina, lost to Baylor. The North Carolina game was fantastic. The Baylor game, they just caught the hottest team in basketball because that Gonzaga team was the best, in my opinion, under Mark Few. Are you starting to think, though, and look, this is probably just knee-jerk because of the season they're having, sitting at 16-6, do you think he ever gets a national championship?
Nope, I do not.
It feels like the moment is past. At Gonzaga, you mean?
Yeah.
Because he could take a job. He could take the Kentucky job.
Or the Louisville job.
I said that last week. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if he does. Like, I think he would have been a lifer, but with the unknowns now, I mean, just winning 5 games in 2 different tournaments and having that opportunity to win that 6th.
But, it would be just like college basketball for him and have to go to Dayton, and that be his national championship team, right? He goes to Dayton, he just gets hot, and they win the national championship out of Dayton.
The play-in game.
Yeah, play-in game.
Yeah. Not to take the Dayton coaching job.
No.
But Gonzaga has a great home court advantage, and that tuition, not the tuition, but the enrollment has gone through the roof at Gonzaga. Tuition probably has too. Since Gonzaga got on that basketball run, and it's changed the whole landscape of that school. And you just wonder if those days have passed. Well,
if you want the Louisville job, following Kenny Payne is about the best it's ever going to get for you. Yep. There are times where you've had to follow Denny Crum or Rick Pitino or somebody like that.
Yeah, I mentioned Nate Oates yesterday when that job comes open. And I only bring that up because he has such a huge buyout. With the great job Greg Byrne did getting that contract signed last year, that it will take a program desperate with a boatload of money like Louisville to get Nate Oates away this early in the contract.
Speaking a little out of school here, I think it's $20 million if it's after this year.
I thought it was 12. But
I remember.
But I may be wrong.
Last year when we were in Nashville, me and Brown, I forgot the name of the steakhouse. It was overlooking. It was in the hotel we were in.
Bourbon.
Yeah. Bourbon Steakhouse, and we're sitting there with a Kentucky fan and his dad, and we were talking to them, and they were talking about, hey, we're done with Calipari, and we asked them, what direction would you guys want to go? And they said Nate Oates.
Yeah, his style of play is just, I mean, you see the job he's doing at Tuscaloosa. It recruits itself, and when you hit some threes, it is hard to beat it.
$12 million now, drops to 10 March 15th.
So I was right, $12 million.
Yeah.
Lucky guess on my part. We roll on. When we come back, we will get to some college football stuff, and then top of the hour, Klay Travis joins the show to talk a little Super Bowl. Show being brought to you by our friends at A+.
A+ Towel Home Remodeling. That is my man, Brad Bell. My wife and I, when we bought our home, we knew we wanted to redo the master bath. It was white. We liked the darker colors. It needed updated. But like many things, we kicked the can down the road. Finally, she said, hey, we're doing it. So she scoured the internet to try to find the best person for the job. She talked to certain contractors, people that had used certain contractors. She selected Brad Bell, and I'm glad she did. First of all, his quotes were so competitive, and then the work was incredible. I mean, and I went back and looked, and I'm like, man, for the quotes we got and the work we got, it would be impossible to get a better deal. He warned me, though, as we were getting quotes, he's like, I'm not going to discourage you from asking about these one-day bath remodel people, because you're going to find the quotes often are double what mine are. And a lot of times they just come in and do shoddy work. They slap a shower over an existing shower, and that is just disgusting. I did not get that for Brad. His crews were incredible. They were on time. They worked hard. They were clean. They were courteous. They answered any questions we had. End of every day, they gave us an update on what they had done. Brad specializes in master bath, kitchen, and master bedroom closets. He did Lance's master bath as well. For Lance, went from darker to lighter. Just shows you he's not hung up on one way of doing it. He does it to your vision. But when you're living in your home, you're going to enjoy the master bath, kitchen, and master bedroom closet more than anything. And when you go to sell it, it's where you're going to get your money back. So call Brad Bell now. If you missed any of this, I'll be happy to get you in touch. 205-422-1758. 205-422-1758. Brad Bell, A+ Tile Home Remodeling.
Follow Dunaway on Twitter and Instagram at Jim Dunaway.
Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemp Hill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemp Hill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemp Hill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090.
The Next Round store is live and loaded. Check out the latest logo t-shirts and hoodies. Get your favorite team colors, the Next Round flag shirt, or grab the popular Y'all Can Have the Rest t-shirts. Go to nextround.store. That's nextround.store.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about one of our favorite places for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is Hamburger Heaven since 1982. Hamburger Heaven has been serving Birmingham's best hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, hand-spun milkshakes, and sandwiches made fresh to order. All of their ingredients are fresh and prepared daily. This includes their beef, always fresh, never frozen, hand-pattied each and every day. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, visit any of the 4 locations, Highway 280, Irondale, Gardendale, and Homewood.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about our friends at Gutter Cap. Gutter Cap's that patented aluminum cover system that fits over most existing gutters to keep out debris and eliminate that gutter cleaning. It's backed with a lifetime warranty, almost 20-year service record right here in Birmingham. Stay off that dangerous ladder forever. 45% off the retail price now if you call guttercapbirmingham.com. Call my good friend Chris Stewart now, 205-823-2212. Cap it, don't snap it. It's Gutter Cap.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live will share the latest interviews and videos from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and campuses all over the college landscape. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Live daily show. Jim, Lance, and Ryan will share their thoughts, and remember, you can always see the old shows on the Next Round Live YouTube channel. Subscribe, like, and don't forget to comment. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. It's Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube.
By the way, it sucks to be a part of the wrong side of a crime, doesn't it?
It sucks to what?
To be on the wrong side of a crime.
Generally, yes.
You mean getting robbed, getting shot, getting stabbed?
I can't think of a crime where I'd say, yeah, if I was on the wrong side of it.
Juju Lewis, who's a 5-star quarterback, is visiting Georgia over the weekend. So he flies into Atlanta, Georgia. So he has to leave his car at the Atlanta airport. And here he is. He's at the Georgia basketball game with Kirby Smart. Look at this, Kirby. Hey, had a great time today visiting Georgia football, Kirby Smart, Georgia, blah, 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 blah.
Got a little Trae Young in him, by the way.
Then he gets back to the Atlanta airport. They really stole my truck out of the Atlanta airport parking ramp in 24 hours.
Dang.
That's pretty impressive.
I'm sure Kirby said, "Don't you worry about that, son.
Yeah,
we'll have you another one tomorrow."
Wait, I'm confused because the kid's only 15 years old.
I think he turned 16, like maybe this month or last month.
I don't know. I think he's 15,
and he's reclassifying. Oh, you think he's driving as a 15-year-old?
Yeah, it might be. I used to drive as a 14-year-old, so
maybe so.
Well, I tell you what, nobody in that picture looks comfortable.
Yeah,
Kirby, Juju, or the kid sitting next to him. They all look very uncomfortable.
Remember, one time he was committed to USC. He has reclassified to where he's going to be part of the 2025 recruiting class. And Georgia's in the mix. So's Auburn. Some others.
So who had more trouble in Atlanta this week, Larry David or Juju?
What did Larry David do?
Oh, Larry had a birthday party he was flown out there for.
Now, is this on the show or is this actual Larry David?
On the show.
Oh, on the show. Okay.
Not in real life.
Yeah, the actual episode of the last season, the first episode is called Atlanta.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So he goes south.
He goes south for a birthday party. You know, these celebrities get paid to go.
Yeah. I cannot imagine.
So typical Larry David.
Larry David in the South. Doesn't seem like it would play very well. I did see a recent interview on Howard Stern where he talked about that, and I didn't know this. He was a writer on Saturday Night Live. And he quit. And it's just like the episode with George Costanza when Costanza quits and then shows up at work the next day. And he said, I quit on Saturday Night Live because I was getting my skit was being cut. My bit, my writing was getting cut. The last cut every time we would get to the night of the show and the show would be running long or whatever, and they would cut my bit. And finally they cut it one night and he walked in and he said, that's it. I'm done. And he walks home cold. He says he was thinking about all the money he'd lost. And then his friend, who ended up being the Kramer character, said, just go back to work on Monday and act like nothing happened.
He did.
And he said he did. And he said he's sitting there and all the other writers who had heard him blow up was sitting there on the couch staring at him. But he just sat down, and I think Dick Ebersol was in charge of the show at the time, later for NBC Sports. And he said he went through and he came to Larry. Got anything you're working on? Larry pitched an idea.
Y'all took that serious? That was a bit I was working on.
I didn't quit.
He was also a limo driver before that. Can you imagine him being your limo driver?
I cannot. Show being brought to you today by our friends at Legacy, LegacyCreditUnion.com, LegacyCreditUnion.com for all the details about great things like the Engaged checking account that you can have, where your balance can earn 3% APY. That's annual percentage yield on balances up to $15,000. But I want to talk to you about balance transfers on your credit cards. There's no balance transfer fees, no annual fee. And here's the best part. You're probably paying 23%, sometimes higher on that credit card balance you have out there. You transfer it over to Legacy's credit card right now, and it's 2.99% annual percentage rate for up to 6 months. Credit rates as low as 8.90% APR, annual percentage rate there. Terms and conditions may apply. See Credit Union for details. Federally insured by the NCUA. LegacyCreditUnion.com, our friends at Legacy. All right, David Hell does a stat about returning production. Returning production. I've got a list from the SEC here. And And really, at the top of the list,
I would say Missouri.
Not a lot of contenders. I think the first real contender is Oregon at 42, Texas at 25, Oregon at 42, and you get down into the 40s for a lot of the national championship contenders. So I don't put a lot of stock into this, but there is an eye-opening fact about Alabama. Texas A&M actually has the most returning production at number 18 in the country. Then Texas at 25, Missouri at 31, Florida at 32, Georgia, who's returning their quarterback and a lot of production, is 47. Auburn is 50. South Carolina is 59, LSU 60, Oklahoma 67. Have I mentioned Alabama yet, Brandon?
No, you have not. Okay, so
Ole Miss 68, Vandy 76, Tennessee 94. We're into the hundreds, Brown. Kentucky 102, Arkansas 109, Alabama 115th. Only Mississippi State at 122 is lower.
You asked me how much stock I put in this. Give me his top 10.
I'll pull it up for you. No SEC teams, but that's my point. Why I don't put any stock in this, because I think we do this every year on who's returning the most production, and to me it goes back to, returning production and returning good production are two different things. Number one is Virginia Tech, 86% of their production returns. Iowa State, Nebraska 3, Oklahoma State, Virginia, Northwestern, Kennesaw State, Rutgers, Miami of Ohio, and Syracuse.
Then I put zero stock in this.
Because
those terrible top 10.
I would say of those 10, not one of those top 10 will win 10 games.
Yeah. I mean, if you see any of those 10 playing a bowl game after Christmas, it might be two of them.
Well, technically Oklahoma State could win the Big 12 and be in the playoffs as the number 4 returning production.
Could.
Then after that, I think you got to go down to Utah at 16.
Yeah.
A&M at 18 is a stretch.
So do they consider Cam Rising? Do they go back to his numbers from 2021 or 2022?
He is returning production, yes. Cam Rising.
But he's not really returning production from last year.
Yeah, because there was zero production last year from Cam Rising.
Penn State's 23. Texas is at 25. Oregon's a contender at 28.
This feels like one of the stats we used to put a lot of stock in, and in today's age of college football, it simply does not matter anymore.
Yeah. I would agree.
Does not matter one bit.
See, I agree.
So he wasted his time.
He did. I'm sure ESPN was like, hey, you remember every year you do the returning production thing, and he's like, okay, I do like getting a paycheck from you, so yeah, I'll continue to do that. And he just did it this year, but it doesn't matter. The top 10 tells you it doesn't matter. Those are your top 10 returning production teams. None of those teams are going to scare the national championship.
Yeah, you know who is behind Alabama even? National champion Michigan at 128.
I believe that.
Yeah. And they lost their head coach. Does that count?
And Washington at 130.
Believe that.
Yeah. Some of Washington's returning production is in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, so most of the college football playoff is in the bottom 10, huh?
Yeah.
I don't know why you can't consider that returning production if they're joining another team.
Yeah, if I get...
if you're giving Cam Rising credit for 2022...
That's right.
Why would you not give...
I should get
Jeremy Bernard.
Jeremy Bernard's numbers from Washington should credit to my team if I'm Alabama.
The production list there, if you want to go check it out and see your favorite schools at ESPN.com. When we come back, Klay Travis talking Super Bowl week in Vegas with us, and a lot more college football still to get to on the show. That is being brought to you by our friends at Hemp Hill Services.
205-229-2090. That is the number you need to call to make sure that HVAC unit keeping up with this changing weather. Adam, Chad, Andrew, tell them the next round sent you. Hard to stop a train. For more information, hemphillservices.com.
Subscribe and set alerts at Disrupt the Media on YouTube.
There are so many things I love about Walk-Ons. Authentic, mouth-watering Louisiana cuisine, prepared fresh, daily from scratch. A great beer selection and TVs everywhere to watch the big game every day of the week. And of course, they've got 2 great locations on Highway 280 and 119 and at Hoover near the Hoover Met. Walk-Ons is also a great place for happy hour, 2 to 6 Monday through Friday with $5 moonshine swirls, $5 house pours, and half-price appetizers. And it's an easy take-home experience for the family as well. Highway 280 and Hoover with Walk-Ons. Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
Make sure to start your day at nextroundlive.com. Get caught up on the latest podcasts and videos from the live daily show, plus specialty shows such as the Mystery Fifth Hour. You can also learn more about the whole staff at Double Down Media, find all of our social media feeds, see the latest videos from our YouTube channel and gaming channel, plus find other ways to consume the show like the Next Round mobile app, which you can download direct from the site via your iOS and Android device. Make nextroundlive.com your homepage and stay up to date with everything from us here at the Next Round.
Bandwagon wants to remind you that baseball and softball season is right around the corner, and their shelves are stocked with everything your kid needs. From grip tape to gloves to custom uniforms, Bandwagon has all the gear, big and small, for those ballpark days. Until February 3rd, you spend $100 on baseball or softball equipment, and Bandwagon will give you $20 off. Just tell them the Next Round sent you. Visit locations in Cahaba Heights, Homewood, and Trustful, or go online to bandwagonsports.com. Next Round listeners, it's time to jump on the bandwagon.
What are you waiting for? It's non-stop gaming action at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Come play more than 900 of the latest and greatest games around, featuring fun bonuses and big jackpots. You can wager and win on horse and greyhound races from all over the world. There are more ways to win at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Birmingham Racecourse Casino, located off I-459 exit 31 Derby Parkway. Must be 21 or older.
Hey, Ryan Brown here from the Next Round. Do you want to help pay for my kids' college and look great while you're doing it? You need to go to the Next Round store. Everything from hats to short sleeve and long sleeve t-shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies, zip-up hoodies, and much more. And we're adding new things all the time. Why would you not want to see my kids get a great college education and look great out in the public while you're doing it? Get the gear we wear all the time on the show, and there's only one place to get it. nextround.store. That's nextround.store.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, and Rockstar. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
Klay Travis coming up in this segment. This hour brought to you in part by our friends at Storm Restoration Roofing. By the way, AP poll out yesterday. UConn, Purdue, North Carolina, Kansas, Houston. 5 SEC teams now. Tennessee is 6. Auburn's back to 12. South Carolina comes from nowhere to 15th. Their first ranking since 2017. And their highest ranking since 1998.
And in front of a team that beat them by 40.
As I was about to say, in front of Alabama at 16.
Sorry, Jim.
Who Alabama blitzed them in Tuscaloosa. Kentucky is 17. Those are the 5 SEC teams.
But South Carolina may be probably the best week in the SEC last week, though.
I would agree.
It really did.
Yeah, this is the old, I hadn't been voting for them, I've really screwed up not voting for them. So now I've got to overcompensate to make up for that. The basketball poll is one of the most useless things in all of sports. The college basketball poll, completely useless. I don't even really know why they do it anymore. I guess the TV networks like to have, because we bragged about it over the weekend, right? About the top 5 games or top whatever that was. What was that? Top 25 games, 4 top 25 games or whatever it was.
The first time ever that 4 top 10 teams, ranked teams, were playing each other in the same weekend.
Yeah, so I guess the TV networks like it. Other than that, basketball poll is meaningless.
Storm Restoration Roofing, if you hadn't had that roof inspected in the last few years, especially after these recent rainstorms we've had around here or a hard winter, Greg Nelson, Greg from Pell City, will take care of you. 205-542-3531, 205-542-3531 for a free no-cost roof inspection. You can also look him up on Facebook, Greg from Pell City, A-plus rated with a Better Business Bureau, locally owned for over 20 years. Locally owned for over 20 years. He and his wife own the company. They're great with the customer service, best warranties in the business, and the best part,
Insurance companies trust him. That helps you out. And when he disagrees with the insurance companies, he'll go to fight for you, like he's doing for one of our next round listeners right now. 205-542-3531 for that free no-cost roof inspection. Also, roof replacement, storm damage help, everything. Greg from Pell City at Storm Restoration Roofing. We'll get to Klay Travis in a second, but on that Super Bowl, as we're getting ready for that big contest to happen, there's a Doink camera that CBS is employing for the first time ever. They had to actually test this out in a preseason game and one regular season game, where for the first time ever we'll have 3 cameras implanted in each upright to show a different angle of kicks, whether they're inside the upright, outside the upright, or hopefully they're cheering for a ball to actually hit the upright.
I don't know about you guys, but I have seen it more this year than ever before of balls hitting uprights.
Yeah, the Doink. Yep. But now that they got the Doink cam, you won't get one.
Oh, you won't get
one
in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's going to be a prop on that where you actually get a ball to hit the upright.
Klay Travis is with us. He is the founder of Outkick, Fox Sports, at Klay Travis on Twitter. He's on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. What is up, Klay? How are you?
I'm great. How are y'all?
Doing fantastic. Thanks a lot. I encourage everyone, Klay tweeted it, go read his 7 thoughts about the future of college athletics. I think it is, I don't agree with all 7, but I do think it is very, very interesting where college athletics, specifically football and basketball, are going. And I think the most intriguing idea you had to me, Klay, in that 7 was, why would the Big Ten and the SEC not just launch their own network? Like a college football network. Why sell the rights? Why not just launch your own network?
Yeah, if I were, advising the SEC and the Big Ten, and they came to me and they said, hey, how do we make the most money, right? As a general rule, thanks to the benefits of capitalism, most people in business end up happiest, employees, management, everybody, if everybody makes more money. And I think right now, college football in particular, I think college basketball is a little bit different story, but college football in particular is not a very well-run business. And they are leaving billions, that's billions with a B, on the table that could otherwise be coming into college football coffers. And so in the years ahead, I don't see any reason why college football would not become a for-profit venture. And immediately people out there are like, well, it'll ruin college football, right? Everybody's out there. I don't understand how making a business more efficient ruins it. The college football universe has to change now. There is Shannon Terry's a good buddy of mine, founded Rivals on 3. Now he runs on 3, 24/7 as well. He estimates, they're pretty plugged in on the NIL front, that up to $300 million is going to be paid to college football players and some college basketball players in this upcoming 2024 year. Everybody is paying. Alabama is paying players millions of dollars. Tennessee is paying players millions of dollars. Florida State, Ohio State, Michigan. Like, there is no, virgin in the whorehouse here. Everybody is paying players. And so to me, the question is, okay, how do we put in place a legal construct that allows this to occur going forward? And it's sort of what I would say a 4 or 5 dimensional challenge, because you have the legal, the business, the media, the sports, the political, all of that is rolled into kind of one 5-dimensional challenge. And you can find something that makes sense on one of those prongs, but then there's other challenges elsewhere. It might make sense on 3. So there's going to have to be a lot of intelligent people sitting down at the table and figuring out what the future is going to look like. So that's, I'm not saying that what I laid out is going to be 100% correct, but I think there's way more right in there than there is wrong. And I remember back in the day, SEC Commissioner Mike Slive used to, who I got to know pretty well, used to talk all the time about paradigm shifts and how you had to shift when the paradigm shifted, and the question was, when did they arrive? You guys know Greg Sankey well. I know Greg Sankey well. I think he's super smart. I think he's probably the best commissioner in all of sports. And that's not speaking hyperbolically. I mean, I think he's done a better job than Adam Silver. I think he would have done a better job than Roger Goodell has, and Roger Goodell hasn't done a bad job. Gary Bettman, certainly, I don't even think there's a comparison to him right now in the world of college athletics. I mean, he's been there way longer. The presidents and ADs trust him after the way he led them through COVID and all those challenges, integrated Texas and Oklahoma pretty flawlessly. I think the SEC is in good hands from a leadership perspective. But I've talked some with Greg about this. I mean, it's going to be a challenge to figure out, and no one person is going to have all the answers. But it is going to be a big, important decision for the future, generationally, of college football in particular.
But why would it make sense for college to have the SEC and the Big Ten to have their own network when it doesn't for the NFL? Or do you think the NFL should broadcast their own games and not use the networks?
It's actually a good question. I think the NFL network was designed when the cable and satellite bundle made sense. When I say own network, I effectively mean their own streaming universe, right? So how much money do you think – I think there are a lot of people out there who are super smart with their Excel spreadsheets and MBAs and everything else who could sit down and quantify this. But if I told you that you could get every SEC and Big Ten game, and they would be played with half the commercial breaks that they have right now, and they would all stream, and you would subscribe and you would pay $100 a year or something like that. I think every SEC football fan on the planet would pay for that, right?
Yes.
I think you would have to give fans something over and above what they get now. The SEC network and the Big Ten network are great properties, and I think they've done a good job with them, and certainly they've been very, very profitable. The challenge is the cable. I think we talked about this a little bit with you, Dunaway, last week, right? When you said, hey, everything's getting more expensive, the cable and satellite bundle's collapsing. I don't know that I would. The reason the NFL wants out of the business is because they can see the end of the line where there's not very many subscribers and they're losing money on their network that's on terrestrial regular television.
Right.
I'm talking about a Netflix of college sports, for lack of a better way to explain it. And, hey, maybe the reality is instead of them having to launch it, Netflix or Amazon comes and says, oh, my goodness, we want this so badly, we'll pay whatever it costs, and you just directly sell it to them. Look, the numbers, I think, and I'm quoting off the top of my head, I think the NFL is scheduled to make nearly $12 billion this year in television rights. And right now, the college football is making around, I think it's 2.5. It's in the article. But you could easily, you may not think that the college football, even though it's often bigger and the audiences, there are more games, all those things. Let's say that the NFL is 2-1 over college football. That's fine. That would still mean that college football is leaving, $3.5 billion probably on the table, over double what they're making now. If they started like the SEC and Big Ten, for instance, instead of selling their rights conference-wide piecemeal, if they went to market with the entirety, the whole pizza, so to speak, like the NFL does.
Klay, it's 5 days out from the Super Bowl, and I brought this up yesterday. Society hates greatness, and I cited Golden State. They were a lovable team. Everybody liked Steph Curry. Then they win 3 championships in 5 years. People are sick of Steph Curry. They don't like Golden State. I think you're seeing the same fatigue right now with Kansas City going for their 3rd Lombardi in 5 years. Would you say Kansas City most hated team in the NFL, maybe all of sports right now? And would you go Travis Kelce or Pat Mahomes most hated player?
Oh, I think Travis Kelce is the most hated player easily, because there's a huge section of football fans that hate every time they see him with that stupid Pfizer commercial. And then there's, there are a lot of people who I would say are not football fans, like Taylor Swift fans, that like Travis Kelce. I guess it depends on how you quantify that. I don't actually think that many people hate Patrick Mahomes. And what I think happens is not necessarily hating greatness. It's just it feels unfair in the same way it did for Brady and the Patriots for one team to steal up all the championship glory. And I say that, I know, Brown, you're a Dolphins fan. I'm a Titans fan. Like, I'm 44. I sit around sometimes now, and I'm like, I might die, and the Titans might never win a Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah,
like,
I thought that.
This is not a – and I'm not talking about, like, getting in a car accident and die in, like, a year. I'm talking about, like, I could live to be 90, and they might never win a Super Bowl. I would like, as a sports fan, for everyone's team to at some point get to experience winning a championship. So I would rather, spread around the championships than give the New England Patriots 6, and the who knows how many of the Kansas City Chiefs are going to end up winning. I think that's probably what is, when you hear that sort of fan discord relating to the continued dominance of a dynasty. I think it's really just kind of a sense that they're getting too much, and there are other fan bases that would be more fun to watch. Like, I'd like to see the Bills celebrate. I'd like to see Browns, Dolphins have a chance to really get a run going. Heck, I'd like to see the Cleveland Browns, the Detroit Lions, like teams that traditionally have not been on the big stage have a chance to actually win a championship.
Yeah, I think the thing with Mahomes is less about Patrick Mahomes and more about his brother and his wife, and I can't hold Patrick Mahomes liable for what they do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I think maybe it's just that feels like a cheat code in the NFL. Like, it doesn't feel fair that one or two or three, which is often the case, right? There's 3 or 4 quarterbacks that are just head and shoulders above everybody else. It doesn't feel fair that you get one good quarterback, and then it doesn't matter how good your linebackers are or how well you drafted corners, right? Or even how talented your wide receivers are. I mean, Mahomes has no actually really stud wide receivers, I would argue, right now, and it doesn't matter. And we saw that with Brady too. There is no cheat code the likes of the best quarterback in the NFL. I don't think anywhere in sports. Maybe somebody like Messi would be somewhat of a comparison in soccer, or certainly you could go LeBron or Jordan at their apexes. But even those guys, I think, are not as important on a play-by-play basis as Patrick Mahomes, the best quarterback in the NFL is.
So right now, San Francisco -2.5. Who do you have in this game?
Well, I mean, unfortunately for 49er fans, based on the way my bets have been going lately, I like the 49ers. And to me, what this comes down to is I know I just said Mahomes is best quarterback. He's the best player on the field, the most important. I don't think there's any doubt. But I think you could legitimately, let's leave aside offensive line, although the 49ers are very good on the offensive line. I think the Chiefs are pretty good on the offensive line too. But let's just go to skill positions. I think there's an argument that the 49ers have the 4 best skill position players if you were just kind of drafting. McCaffrey would clearly be 1. I think Debo would be 2. I think Brandon Ayuk would be 3. And then you get into a debate, would you rather have George Kittle or Travis Kelce? All season long, you would have rather had George Kittle. He was the better performer down the stretch run. Now, Kelce was unbelievable in the first half against the Baltimore Ravens, but I kind of tend towards thinking that I would rather have Kittle, especially with those other weapons. And with 2 weeks, I know he hasn't had success that he wants. He gave up a 28-3 lead as the offensive coordinator. They gave up a late lead 4 years ago against the Chiefs. But I like Kyle Shanahan with time to prepare. And I just think the weapons of the 49ers, they are the more talented team. It's really the more talented team versus the better quarterback. And I think with time to prepare, I'm going to take the more talented team, even though usually you can't go wrong taking the better quarterback in the NFL.
All right, he is Klay Travis. Go follow him on Twitter at Klay Travis. Read him at Outkick, see him on Fox. Thank you, Klay. Have a great week.
Hey, appreciate y'all. Thanks a lot.
All right, buddy. We'll see you, Klay, with us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline.
And the show being brought to you also by our friends at New York Butcher Shop. There's a win total for Alabama that's been set by one of the services out there for this upcoming football season. FanDuel Sportsbook has set one. We'll talk about that right after LT tells us about New York Butcher Shop.
Hey, speaking of the Super Bowl, they've got that Boston butt sale right now. Call Jim and the guys. Available for pickup this Friday the 9th or Saturday the 10th. Reservations only. They're only $39.99 each. Look, take the headache of cooking, grilling away. Let them do the Boston butt for you. It's from our friends at the New York Butcher Shop. 2 locations. For Cahaba Heights, call to reserve your Boston butt right now. 205-970-7300. That's 205-970-7300. The Greystone location right there on Highway 119. 205-703-8835. That's 205-703-8835. Tell them the next round sent you. Rare quality, well done service, New York Butcher Shop.
That Boston butt, I've got it from there before. It is well worth the value. Only $39 right there. So go check that out. You cannot beat that. Cooked and ready to go is the best part, right?
Yep.
All right. As expected, this is exactly where you put Alabama's win total, 9.5, right?
That's what I thought it would be.
FanDuel, 9.5. If Forrester can pull up that Alabama schedule
so the lowest it has been since 2009? 8.
Well, yeah. I do think, though, and I'm interested, I don't know if this will be the case.
There's the schedule for you.
Based on this discussion here. But I do think schedules are only getting more difficult now. So I'm wondering if everyone's win total, if everyone's win total is going to drop.
I still think Georgia will be like 10.5.
Yeah.
I think Ohio State will be like 10.5.
Like your Big Ten and your SEC schedule are more difficult than ever, and now teams are scheduling better out of conference with the expanded playoffs.
Not everybody, but some are.
The vast majority.
Better, yeah. Hopefully everybody will start doing
the big
that.
teams.
Western Kentucky, South Florida, they're not gimmies, obviously, but you would count those as wins. Wisconsin on the road.
Alabama will be heavily favored.
Again, if they don't start 3-0, Kalen DeBoer, you guys remember when Bill Curry allegedly got the old brick through the window?
That was after the Ole Miss homecoming loss, right?
Yeah, let's go 3-1 there after Georgia. Just say they lose that game. They beat Vandy 4-1. Let's give them South Carolina 5-1. On the road at Tennessee.
Tough game. I'm going to need to see a little bit of Nico before I make those.
I think Bama will be a slight favorite. So let's just give them the games they're favored in. 6-1.
6-1. Missouri in Tuscaloosa.
Tough game.
7-1.
Maybe tougher than the Tennessee game, but goes 7-1. LSU in Baton Rouge.
I will go loss there. 7-2.
7-2. Mercer at home. 8-2. Alabama at Oklahoma.
I'll go 9-2.
9-2 with Auburn coming to town.
Yeah, I think 10-2.
That's a 10 and that'd get you over the number.
Yeah. By the way, that would be 9-2. Auburn coming to town with a playoff berth on the line, most likely.
Probably so. And 10-2 would probably get you a home playoff game too, I would think.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough ticket if that is the scenario that plays out.
Yeah.
Needing that win to get into the college football playoff, but likely not the SEC championship game, right?
Their losses were LSU and Georgia. I mean, you're going to have. I mean, depending on what LSU does. I mean, if LSU's a two-loss team.
Yeah, but you don't play Texas, so it depends on what Texas does.
Yeah. I mean, there would be some factors there, but it'd be tough to make it at 10-2.
I mean, when we're out in Dallas at the Omni for SEC Media Days coming up here in July, it'll be Georgia, Texas, projected to be in the SEC championship game.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know.
No,
I mean, that Alabama brand is not going to die overnight, so it may never die. Actually, I'm not saying it's going to die, but if it dies, it is not going to die overnight.
Yeah, I think you got to wait and see what happens after spring with the portal.
Okay.
I can't believe you'd be that confident that Texas would be for sure slotted in over Alabama. When's the last time Alabama has not been slotted in this game?
Well, there's no division, so that's going to make it a different vote. It's in the state of Texas, which is going to add a lot more Texas media people.
That will have an impact.
Yeah.
You're right about that. Yeah.
I don't say things without thinking about them.
Oh,
Georgia,
Jim, I think
Georgia
you do.
Tech
frequently do that.
I mean, there are
yes.
times, when it's been in the state of Alabama that Alabama and Auburn's gotten a bump because there's been more Alabama media people voting.
I think Texas media people, I only deal with Chip and Zay, but those guys, they're more realistic, and maybe because of the heartbreak of Texas.
You don't think Chip and Zay will have Texas over Alabama?
I'm not positive. You say it like you're completely confident. I know Georgia's going to be voted in the game.
Yeah, I'll give you Georgia number one.
Yeah, but I think it's Texas, Alabama coin flip.
I think when the AP poll comes out in August, it'll be Georgia 1, Ohio State 2, then some form of Texas and Oregon 3 and 4.
I would say more Texas, yes. I think Texas will be ranked higher in the Associated Press poll. I do agree with you on that. I don't know about in this, but in the AP poll.
And I think Oregon will be ahead of Alabama too.
Oh, no, we'll see.
Yeah. A lot of time to get there, but 9.5 from our friends at FanDuel there.
That's a good number.
Yeah.
That's what I would put it
I'd bet the over right now, though, if you made me.
I would imagine there will be a lot of 9.5s, to your point.
Well, yeah, I mean, with tougher schedules, it only makes sense.
Look, and that is the line for Alabama fans to be, okay, I like this Kalen DeBoer guy, or just don't think this guy's the right guy.
Well, I think,
by the way, 9.5 is going to be about the playoff line, right?
Yep, probably so, yeah. I mean, 10 wins will get most big conference teams in the playoffs.
Big 10 and SEC.
Yeah.
ACC, Big 12 not.
No, yeah.
But, the big two big ones, the big two. What are we going to call that? Big 2, Power 2? What do you want to call it? Super 2?
Big 10 and SEC.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
But it is a two-team world.
Yep.
Right now. Could be a lot of 10 and 2 teams in the SEC. We're 200 days today from week 0, an even cool 200 number. We go inside that number tomorrow, but 200. Jay says, let's go ahead and just call it the North Division, South Division.
I mean, we're getting there, yeah.
We're on our way there. Is it worth talking about what went on with the Dartmouth basketball team last night?
I mean, it sounds really boring, honestly.
Yeah.
I didn't even know anything happened with Dartmouth.
National Labor Relations Board said that Dartmouth men's basketball players are school employees and they have the right to unionize.
Yeah, basically a lot of people are painting it as the first step towards players becoming employees, which is going to eventually happen anyway. I would remind people this happened with Northwestern several years ago and got overturned.
Yeah.
Got overturned on appeal. So, this is no guarantee. Players are going to be. I mean, yeah, this was a big story, but I don't think it's like breaking news.
The bigger story, they're paying Dartmouth players?
Well, everybody's going to have to.
It's private. It's a private school, and that's why they think this one will get held up in appeal. The reason the Northwestern was turned down because it was a private school, but they were playing in the Big Ten with a bunch of public schools. All the Ivy Leagues are private schools, so that may actually keep this ruling on the books, which is why this could be the downfall of the NCAA or just leading us to eventually, as Brown said, where we're going to go, and that's having these players as school employees at some point, and the right to union, which means at some point in the future, before I'm dead and gone likely, there'll be one Saturday where we'll be getting ready for a game, and they'll say on game day, we are getting word that such and such team is striking today over unfair pay or unfair work balances in the Big Ten or the SEC.
I don't know if you would have a single team in a union. Wouldn't it be the entire union that would strike at that point?
Maybe so.
It would be.
Maybe so.
So
Like
you would
the
have
SEC is striking.
Yeah, you would have a Saturday without football because the entire union is on strike. Or we have scab players.
Yeah.
Kalen DeBoer and Hugh Freeze are at the Hoover game like, hey, guys, what y'all doing tomorrow?
Yeah.
Did you guys still watch?
The Pikes and the Alpha Taws together.
Hey, the strike didn't scare me off. Now, maybe I was too young in 1987 to care.
I had a great time watching it, to be honest.
Yeah, as a kid, it didn't affect me one way or the
like
other.
the uniforms.
Yeah.
Sort of made it more exciting. It was more like college football to me back then.
Yeah, who is this guy playing quarterback? Can I give you?
Can we do it after the break?
Yes, at some point I got 5 questions. I do think we'll have to answer about college, specifically college football, moving forward.
We'll do off that after that when we come back on the next round today, which is being brought to you in part by our friends at Precision Sports. Precision Sports, or an orthopedic, your provider to get you back in the game right now. Orthopedic care is better together, so why not use our friends at Precision Sports Medicine and Orthopedics? The phone number is 205-512-3885, 512-3885, or precisionsportsortho.com/2024. You may say, Jim, when would I need Precision Sports Medicine? Because I'm not an athlete right now. But you are a guy that goes to work, right? Or a woman that goes to work, and sometimes you tweak your back, your knee, your hip, your shoulder, elbow, hand, whatever is hurting, you need to get back to work, or you need to get back playing with your kids, or maybe you do. Maybe you are a weekend warrior. Get back into the game with our friends at precisionsportsortho.com/2024, precisionsportsortho.com/2024.
Follow The Next Round on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Next Round Live.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. I mean, where else are the scenic views as good as your view of the game? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Start your day online at nextroundlive.com. Get all the latest videos, podcasts, and college football stories. And it's also a great way to stream the show or shop in the Next Round store. Stay connected by visiting nextroundlive.com. Things fall apart. There's even a book about it, but that doesn't mean you have to break the bank to fix them. Ryan Brown here for the Next Round. Our friends at Mortgage Right have a new renovation option that will make repairs and other home improvements easy. If you've recently purchased a home and find yourself short on cash, or you're looking to buy a fixer-upper, Mortgage Right's renovation loan program can help you spruce up your space. Repairs can be made to your roof, plumbing, flooring, and more with the help of top-notch mortgage professionals. So get your fix by visiting mortgageright.com/TNR. And MLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender.
Remember the name Way to Wellness if you're battling weight loss in your life. I'm Jim Dunaway from the Next Round. There was a time I was over 216 pounds until Way to Wellness helped me lose 45 pounds, and now for over 2 years, they've helped me keep that weight off. Here's their website, aplanforme.com, aplanforme.com. That's a great name for a website because there's no cookie cutter plan. Everything is designed specifically for you. No contract, no sign-up fees, and your first consultation is free at Way to Wellness.
Spring weather is here, and our friends at Hemp Hill Services are offering a $69 HVAC tune-up plus 10% off any service call when you mention the next round. Call Adam, Chad, and the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Make sure your HVAC unit is ready to keep up with the changing weather. Hemp Hill Services, locally owned and operated independent train dealer. The team can service all makes and models. For all of your plumbing, heating, and cooling needs, call Hemp Hill Services. It's hard to stop a train. 205-229-2090 or hemphillservices.com. That's 205-229-2090, hemphillservices.com. Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about one of our favorite places for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is Hamburger Heaven since 1982. Hamburger Heaven has been serving Birmingham's best hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, hand-spun milkshakes, and sandwiches made fresh to order. All of their ingredients are fresh and prepared daily. This includes their beef, always fresh, never frozen, hand-pattied each and every day. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, visit any of the 4 locations, Highway 280, Irondale, Gardendale, and Homewood.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live is dedicated to giving you daily news conferences and practice video from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and around college football. Follow and compare to the sites you used to visit. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Daily Show. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. See more at nextroundlive.com.
As I said, 200 days from week 0 of college football, but National Signing Day tomorrow, and we're in the heat of a big basketball season. As Brandy called it, the golden era of the Alabama-Auburn basketball rivalry. Tomorrow night, 6 o'clock down at Neville Arena for that contest. Here's the photo from the Tuscaloosa News of the game poster, Alabama over Mississippi State. Tuscaloosa News took this photo.
That's crazy.
That is Wagee's dunk.
Jeez.
No technical called, by the way.
Boy, you slip. That wrist is gone.
No doubt.
No technical called, by the way. It was late in the game, I think. No, 56-31 at the time.
Yeah.
I thought to myself, we don't call technicals much anymore, do we?
Nate Oates got him one, which I think was just padding his technical stat because Bama was up by like 30 at the time.
Yeah,
I meant hanging on the rim.
Well, I know.
Back to Stephen Pearl. I don't know if you guys watched the end of the game, though, but KD, I mean, did like 2 pull-ups on it, screamed, rolled around on the rim.
Steven said, I told BP that's what we're going to have to live with.
I was waiting to see what the reaction was going to be because, it didn't affect the game, and there's no way KD does that if the game is in doubt. But Bruce just kind of gave him a hug, patted him on the ass, and that was it.
That's what we're going to have to live with.
Can I say it again, Forrester? It's that is one if you're Wagee, though. That's that's one you'll have forever.
It's on my cell phone.
You'll have that one framed and hanging when you're 60 years old in your house right there.
Yeah, that's on the lock screen of my cell phone right there, buddy. Anytime I get a text, you see that picture.
I mean, his right toe is higher than the rim behind the backboard.
Yeah. In fact, do you have a contact, like, I don't know if people get this from me or not, but do you guys, I don't know what your stance is on this, but like you're texting something and at the top it says updated contact info and it's just got a new photo.
I hit it every time.
You update it every time?
I never do.
Yeah, occasionally I do. Sometimes I don't. I don't know how I decide it. That would be my update photo if I'm him. Like anytime I text you, you get that as like, would you like to update Wagee's photo?
Yeah.
And that's the photo you're going to have on your phone.
You can't really see the photo anyway. It's so small.
I know.
That looks so good.
Me hanging on the rim will be right there, that little circle, though, Lance. That's why every time I text you would see it.
And it looks like he knew who was taking the picture, too. It's like he's looking in that direction and everything. Really a exciting game tomorrow down there, and we'll have all the coverage for you. Taylor Korn will be there for our social media platform at Next Round Live. Our friends at UCA, Urology Centers of Alabama, want to remind you about early detection. Over 35 urologists, 16 locations can keep you healthy across the state of Alabama, treating all your urological needs. From prostate health to kidney stones, they'll take care of you. Visit urologycentersalabama.com, urologycentersalabama.com to schedule an appointment. Brownie's got questions. We'll see if we've got answers.
5 questions when players become employees. You guys tell me how you think these are going to roll. These are not exciting, but these are 5 questions I think you got to answer. Number 1. Do we just do 3-year contracts with a 4th-year option? Like, as of now, obviously, if you're eligible for the NFL 3 years after high school. So do we do a 3-year contract with a 4th-year option?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so because I mean, you guys correct me if I'm wrong. Scholarships are year to year.
Sometimes they are.
I think they're not anymore. Now they're 4-year scholarships.
I think it's dependent on the situation. You could do a 1 year, you could do a 2 year, you could do a 3 year.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying not all of them, but would that be like your max contract?
Yeah.
No.
Max
I'm
contract.
going to be able to. I'm going to sign a 4-year guy. If Caleb Williams wants to sign with me, I'm going to give him a 4-year deal. And if he chooses to leave early, I don't want to have a 4th year out there and he still doesn't want to go pro.
If you choose to leave early, where do you get your money? From him or from the NFL?
I don't get my money.
That's a stupid contract.
Well, I'm only paying him. I'm only paying him if he's playing for me. If he leaves, then he's leaving.
There's going to be a salary cap. I mean, that's not the way it works in the NFL. You can't sign a guy who's like, well, if I lose him in free agency.
If he is leaving the game, if he's retiring, I don't get penalized for that. He's basically going to the pros, so he's out of our system. I need that 4th year to where after 3 years, if he's going to play another year of college, I don't want him going somewhere else. But I'm going to sign him on a 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year basis, depending on the player, because I'm going to have to manipulate my roster just like these kids are. So I may only need this kicker for 1 year.
And that's question number 2. What do you think roster sizes will be moving forward? You can now have 85 scholarship players. I think 105 on your roster. How big do you think a college football roster will be?
I think because of the salary, if you have a salary cap and because we're making these guys employees, it's going to shrink.
60? You think 60?
I would think 65.
Yeah, I would
think
think 60 to
70 is going to be the number.
70?
It's what we travel with now, and I think that's a working number for the coaches.
Significantly smaller, though.
Yeah,
Significantly
70.
smaller.
Yeah, 15 scholarships out the door.
Yep. What would trades look like? Will you have trades, do you think?
I mean, look, it is a business, but boy, I find it hard to believe you're going to tell a 19-year-old to pack up that signed with his. Look, he grew up an Oklahoma fan. Yeah. He's from Norman. He's playing at Oklahoma, and then he gets traded away.
Trades won't happen, no.
You don't think trades will happen?
No, they can't happen.
Why not?
Because you can't force me to go to school in a different school.
Okay.
Now, if you had an agreed-upon trade.
All right, let me couple in question number 4 then. Will class attendance still be required?
No.
Okay, then I'm not forcing you to go to school.
Yeah, but it's not a I don't think it's mandatory now.
Well, I think
you
it
don't think
is.
It's mandatory now.
No, I don't think kids have to go to class now. They just have to make the grades. Yeah.
Will you quit playing semantics? You know what I'm talking about. I mean, are you going to have to be enrolled in college?
Yeah, you're going to have to be enrolled in college.
Oh, I don't know if you will. You're going to be an employee of the school.
Yeah. Well, then the answer is no for you. I think you'll still have to be enrolled in school, yes.
If you're not enrolled in school, do you think there'll be trades?
I think you'll have to be enrolled in school, but if you're not, then I don't know what we're doing.
Well, okay, so we've got, and I forgot what the number of years you've got to be vested, but we've got certain players that have no trade clauses.
Right.
I think it would have to be agreed upon by both parties.
Well, a no trade clause would be like a Ryan Williams type player. Like, this guy is such a good player, everybody wants him. Sure, I'll give you a no trade clause. Or you can dictate your trade situation, whatever the case would be.
I think it's going to be, you're going to be able to dictate your situation.
Will there be a limit on years of eligibility?
Yes.
Yeah, there's
you think
be.
so?
Yeah.
But, I mean, it might be like
Do you
6.
Not? I mean, you're asking me the question like I have the wrong answer. Do you not think there'll be a
I
limit
think I
on
can see a
eligibility?
world where if a kid just wants to keep playing, he keeps playing.
You can't have a bunch of 32-year-olds.
Why not?
No, I mentioned it last week on the show that
because then basically you're getting the USFL.
Let them play.
Well, I mean, this is going to be professional sports. I mean, I don't know why we're going to still pretend like it's college.
I think
amateur
there's,
sports.
and maybe this is just nostalgia, but I think there's still got to be some things. I don't want to say a student athlete, but there's got to be some things that link them a correlation to college.
I hate to be the guy to say this, but if
you're never going to overtake the NFL,
you're not going to overtake the NFL.
So you got to be careful on how you do this.
But you'll be the second most popular professional sports league out there.
Already are.
Well, you're just not a wholly professional yet, but yes, you're the second most popular sport. You're about to be the second most popular professional league out there.
Nobody wants to see a bunch of 30-year-olds playing for Bowling Green.
I mean, I just
or
think,
Kentucky.
I just think, though, if nostalgia is your roadblock, that is a bad way of conducting a business.
Well, it's not nostalgia. I just think you're only spending money on the best players, and the best players, if you've been with my program now for the 6th year and you're not NFL quality, I'm probably finding somebody better than you to play for me. And we're not talking about, they're not going to be doing this at Division II.
No, not at all.
Right?
No, this is going to be your big schools.
Yeah, it's just going to be the best
of the best. Probably going to be 60 schools.
And so the best of the best aren't going to be dealing with some 25-year-old or 28-year-old who's washed up, that is barely hanging onto a roster, they would rather go to an 18 or 19-year-old who is a Ryan Williams type who has got NFL skill set more than a 28-year-old who can't play anywhere else.
But I think of a guy like Brock Purdy. It was a gamble for Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy didn't enter the draft early. He was a senior.
Oh, he was a fifth-year
senior.
Yeah.
And he was far from a guarantee to get drafted. Now,
he's
Mr. Irrelevant.
I think he was surprised he got drafted.
So it worked out for Brock Purdy. But given the option, rewind in time, if Brock Purdy had an opportunity to continue playing college football or enter the draft, which one do you think he would have done?
Oh,
I think he continues playing college football.
And
that's a Super Bowl quarterback we're talking about.
It's interesting. They did a redraft of 2023 today that I saw, and Bryce Young obviously didn't go number 1 overall. But if you threw, I know Brock Purdy's 2 years removed, if you threw him in the draft this year, sight seeing, is he the number 1 guy over Caleb Williams?
I don't know. I'd go pretty high because I like sight seeing.
I would still take Caleb Williams.
I would take Caleb Williams. I think I would take him over Drake May.
Oh, I would too.
Yeah.
What about Jaden Daniels?
I think I would take Jaden Daniels.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
But you see my point. I mean, Brock Purdy would have been a pretty good commodity, and there's no guarantee he'd have gone to the NFL. And that's a guy that's good enough to quarterback in a Super Bowl we're talking about there. And if he could have played 5, 6, 7 college football years, he might have done it.
Yeah, this is totally off board, but could Reichert have come back this year?
If he had not had, I think it was 1 punt in a Tennessee game.
Okay.
He appeared in more than 4 games his freshman year. So I think that's what got him, if that rule was around then.
Because I think he's so good.
I was going to say that a kicker is somebody you could keep around a while.
Yeah, I mean, I think he could have gotten 7-figure deal from somebody probably, and I think he probably chooses to stay.
There's only 32 slots open. It's not like there's multiple kickers on each team.
And they don't come open very often.
They don't.
Kickers can play for a long time.
One of the best kickers in the game this past year came from the USFL.
That's right.
Yeah.
So those are 5 questions. I think, you got to view this a little bit differently than you always have.
Are those your football. 5 questions, or did you?
Those are my 5 questions.
Need to credit
completely credited Ryan Brown live on Twitter is where you get those questions.
Yeah, I would say the age thing is a touchy subject, and the trade thing. I mean, I can see you playing longer than 4 years, 5 years. I mean, we've got who's the 7-year kid this year? Is it Bohannon?
Miami's got a 9-year kid.
Don't they have the 7-year, the quarterback coming back? Bowman?
Yeah, Alan Bowman. Yeah, it is 7.
So,
I think 6 is going to be the
tops. So, we got 7 years now because of injuries. So, we get into that some. Chris Winkie was 28, right?
Yeah, he played baseball, though, right?
Yeah, he left.
And then came back to school early. So, you have some of those type things.
Yeah, but I bring up the trade thing because, this being employees is going to virtually eliminate the transfer portal. So, I mean, that's just a version of the transfer portal. At least as a school like Alabama would have gotten something back for for Isaiah Bond or for Caleb Downs. At least you get value back. You've got something invested in these players now. If a guy gets disgruntled, you either cut him or sit him and keep paying him, right?
Yeah, but if I sign him to a 3-year contract, I'm not giving him 3-year contract money up front, right? You're going to be paid.
I wouldn't think so.
You're going to be paid like an employee. You're going to be paid every 2 weeks.
I mean,
you're going to be taxed like an employee.
That's
right?
going to be collectively bargained in the NFL. These guys get upfront money. I don't know what it'll look like in college.
They
football.
get signing bonuses, but they get a paycheck every game.
That is correct.
Every game, and once you're if you're suspended, you don't get a paycheck.
That's right.
If you're no longer with the team, then your guaranteed money is your guaranteed money, but the other money is not guaranteed. You don't get a paycheck. So Isaiah Bond's paycheck would have stopped from Alabama the day he left Alabama.
But the other side of that is if he's a disgruntled, I'm not saying Isaiah Bond was, I'm just using him as an example. If he's a disgruntled kid and I need him off my roster, why not trade him to Texas for something?
Yeah. There will be cuts. There will be obviously cuts.
Yeah, but then I don't get value back.
Yeah, but
That's
you're also giving up whatever money you've got invested in him. Like if you've got a 3-year deal with,
that's why I should get something back.
No, but I'm saying they're going to have to pick up whatever. You're not paying him anymore.
I'm not, but I have invested a lot in him to just have to cut him for him to go play against me at Texas.
Yeah, but Alabama invested a lot in him already.
That is right.
In the world we live in now,
which is a broken system. That's why I'm saying this is a better system.
Yeah, but it works both ways. Like Parker Brailsford is a guy they went out and they got from Washington.
That is
Washington
correct.
invested in him.
Yep.
He progressed. He advanced as a player, and now so you're going to lose some, but then you're going to steal some yourself. So I think it washes out.
I mean, I guess I don't know how you're going to get these guys if they're under a 3-year contract. That's my point. There's going to be no freedom of movement anymore.
Yeah, but not everybody I don't think it's a 3-year contract.
Well, I'm just saying a guy under it. Isaiah Bond would have been.
Yeah, but that's what ties you to the school now. You
Yeah,
sign a 3-year deal.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, you're not going anywhere.
A lot of guys are only going to sign 1-year contracts.
Probably so, because if I'm Texas and I'm recruiting Isaiah Bond and Alabama's recruiting Isaiah Bond, and I know Alabama's wanting him to sign a 3-year deal, I'll roll the dice and let him sign a 1-year deal. Now, you can get burned in a hurry that way, because now he's a free agent.
Right.
And I'm either going to have to pay triple for a good player, or he's going to go play for somebody else.
If this sounds chaotic to you, keep in mind, in the system we live in now, just in the quarterback position, 42 Power 4 of the 4 Power 4 conferences remaining, 42 quarterbacks changed schools this year. 42 in just the top 4 conferences we're talking about. So it's chaotic as it is. All right. Approaching the top of the hour, still to come on the show, we've got Trash, as always, at around 11:30. Redmond Vodka, LT had a chance to spend some time with them in Atlanta at the Hawks game last week, Lakers-Hawks. Redmond Vodka on a Super Bowl weekend sounds perfect.
Yeah, it was just last Tuesday. Went over to State Farm Arena. The official vodka over there in Atlanta is Redmond Vodka, locally owned and operated. Charles Barkley, one of the great faces behind it, 8 times distilled, gluten-free. Ask for it by name, available in 22 states. It is Redmond Vodka.
Take the next round anywhere you go with official Next Round gear. Buy yours today at nextround.store.
For more than 40 years, Red Wing Shoes has been helping the hardworking people of Alabama. This is why Red Wing Shoes has created the 3-step comfort solution. Step 1, a certified fit specialist will use a 3D scan to electronically measure your feet and arches. Step 2, the fit specialist helps you get the appropriate footwear for your occupation. Step 3, customize your boot or shoe with a Red Wing orthotic. Whether you have a high arch or flat feet, Red Wing has comfort solutions for you. So experience comfort at its best. Visit one of the Red Wing shoe stores located in Pelham or Trussville.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live is dedicated to giving you daily news conferences and practice video from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and around college football. Follow and compare to the sites you used to visit. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Daily Show. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. See more at nextroundlive.com. Remember the name Way to Wellness if you're battling weight loss in your life. I'm Jim Dunaway from The Next Round. There was a time I was over 216 pounds until Way to Wellness helped me lose 45 pounds, and now for over 2 years, they've helped me keep that weight off. Here's their website, aplanforme.com, aplanforme.com. That's a great name for a website because there's no cookie cutter plan. Everything is designed specifically for you. No contract, no sign-up fees, and your first consultation is free at Way to Wellness.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop, rare quality, well-done service.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
Want more of the show? Download the app or visit nextroundlive.com for the latest podcast. The Mystery Fifth Hour, our Not For All Ages podcast, The Last Call, and our entire Double Down Media podcast family. All at nextroundlive.com and on the Next Round app.
LT's has got our 4 downs coming up in the next segment. A couple of football notes here before he tells us about Woodhouse Day Spa. We told you earlier Ryan Williams will make his signing tomorrow with his team at 10 a.m. Alabama's the expected destination where he's been verbally committed to. Auburn defensive back Donovan Kaufman ends up picking NC State. Kentucky got a 4-star wide receiver commitment for 2025 yesterday. Quentin Simmons, who picked Kentucky over Michigan and Penn State.
I just don't know why you would go. If you're a skill guy, why you would go to Kentucky.
I was just thinking that was one heck of a job of recruiting. I mean, to convince a wide receiver to come to Kentucky.
Yeah. Over Michigan and Penn State, too. I mean, that's a good win. It's a good win. By the way, there's still if I understand this correctly, there's still a 5-star athlete that will sign tomorrow somewhere. Terry Bussey is his name. Pass the gravy, please. Terry Bussey is his name. He's from Tipson, Texas.
Should I have gotten that?
Bussey's a Rick and Bubba reference.
Rick and Bubba reference. That was actually a really good line by Joe.
5-star athlete, was once a Texas A&M commitment, but decommitted when Jimbo Fisher was fired. So he's visited Mike Elko. He's visited Georgia. He's visited LSU. We don't know where he's going to sign yet. Wide receiver DB, think of the kid at Colorado, thinks he's going to play 2 positions. If he doesn't sign with LSU tomorrow, this will be the first recruiting class, and somebody fact check me on this, first recruiting class since 2013 that LSU has no 5-star commitments.
That blows me away. I would have thought it goes back before 2013. I thought Brian Kelly was okay. I thought he was doing a decent job recruiting. You're just saying he's doing a bunch of 4-stars.
All 4-stars, yes.
Yeah, well, I mean, that could work.
Yeah, but I think there's only like 32, 35 5-stars usually.
And there's a glut of 4-stars, I believe.
Hundreds of 4-stars. Like the difference between a high 4-star and a low 4-star.
Yeah, big difference.
Is a big difference. There's a lot of them out there. So that is really, really interesting that LSU, still a great recruiting class, but unless they get this Terry Bussey guy, they're not going to have a 5-star in this signing class. Tomorrow is the National Signing Day. Show being brought to you by Woodhouse. Valentine's Day now just, 8 days away?
Yeah, that's right, Dunaway. 8 days away from Valentine's. Make sure, look, a lot of guys like to procrastinate. The majority of you probably have not gotten your significant other any Valentine gift. This is really simple. You can go online. You don't even have to leave your desk, office, home, wherever you are. Birmingham.woodhousespas.com. You can order that special person gift online, get that gift card. Simple solution. You can choose from a menu of over 70 options at Woodhouse Day Spa, including massages, body treatment, skincare, waxing, nail services. Woodhouse Day Spa, voted America's best day spa since 2009. Again, order online 24/7, birmingham.woodhousespas.com, or stop by and tell Stuart and the fine folks the Next Round sent you.
Bill O'Brien looks like he is the leading candidate for the Boston College head coaching job.
You know, everything seems to have gone right in this offseason for Ohio State, and the one thing a lot of people question was the hiring of Bill O'Brien.
I thought the same thing you're saying here.
I mean, I would say it seems like Ryan Day's getting a free pass here, but that was the guy he chose.
I know, but the only chink in the armor that with everything that's going right for Ohio State, if you're a fan of somebody else that does not want Ohio State to win the national championship, you keep going. But they got Bill O'Brien as the offensive coordinator.
I really think this is a regional thing. I think most people across the country that are college football and NFL fans respect Bill O'Brien.
Yeah, but his last 2 years, it's weird that he did create a Heisman Trophy winner at Alabama, and he's viewed the way he's viewed. I shouldn't say create. That he coached a Heisman Trophy winner at Alabama, and he's viewed the way he's viewed. His ending at New England was not great. That was a terrible offense.
But, the same with Belichick. Yep. I mean, look, they just did a really, really bad job of evaluating talent and bringing personnel in.
I just think, all right, let's say there are 130 sitting offensive coordinators in college football. How many of them do you think would say no to Ohio State if Ryan Day called today? Maybe 10 or 12?
Not many.
Not many. Not many at all.
And but the only thing you've got to realize is ultimately Ryan Day has got a huge ego, and he is going to – it's going to be his offense, and he's going to – although you might be calling plays, he's going to have that boycott ability.
The override, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's an interesting situation, but was that what you were thinking, Dunaway? Is like they have had an offseason where everything is going right for them.
And now they're going to get rid of their only Their only anchor. The only one that's going to keep the boat from cruising.
I mean, that was the only thing that anybody even said, oh, what is Ohio State doing? Every other move they've made in the offseason, they've been like, oh, God.
And at that point, Ryan Day can say, hey, at this point, I'm just going to call plays again another year.
I tried.
I'm going to promote within. We're going to call plays as a staff here. I did not know this existed, and it came about in 1961, but it explains so much to me now. The NFL announced last night they're going to play a game on the Friday of opening week down in São Paulo, Brazil.
So stupid.
So they will do the Thursday night opening night.
Okay.
They will play Friday in prime time. They will play Sunday's games, Monday games on their opening weekend.
Look, I love a Friday prime time just for the hell of it, but I don't know why we got to go to Brazil.
Yeah, I would agree.
But a Friday prime time for the hell of it can't happen because of the 1961 Sports Broadcasting Act. Enacted in 1961, and it all makes sense now.
Oh, okay. No, this act makes sense?
Do you remember Black Friday this past year?
Yeah.
And we all asked ourselves, why was that game in the afternoon? Why would they not play it in prime time? It's
no,
the
that
NFL.
is true. Yeah,
Remember
it was an afternoon game, Miami at New York, yeah.
1961 Sports Broadcasting Act prevented that game from being broadcast in prime time.
What is the Sports Broadcasting Act that I never knew we had?
I'm glad you asked. It bars the NFL from broadcasting after 6 p.m. Eastern Time on Fridays and Saturdays from the second Friday in September until the second Saturday in December to protect high school and college football.
Wow.
And it's been there since 1961.
Did you say the second September?
The second Friday in September to the second Saturday in December. And September 6th is the first Friday, so it falls outside. That's why this game can be in prime time. But Black Friday
is afternoon.
Has to be a day game because of the Sports Broadcasting Act of 1961 enacted to prevent the NFL from overriding the high school and college football broadcasting.
But it's only Friday night is their only prohibition.
And Saturdays.
Fridays and Saturdays. Oh, yeah, Fridays. Okay. So is that the stadium Scott showing us to play in?
That's the stadium they're expected to play in São Paulo.
Yeah, very, very easy argument for the NFL, though. The college football does it all the time. These networks are taking this college money. So if you're the NFL, you probably could have this amended pretty easily.
But you could, but 1961, they haven't done it yet.
I tell you,
but there's been no need to do Friday night games.
They have a lot of antitrust.
Yeah.
They have a lot of things. They get some loopholes in the legal system that they don't want to step on. They don't want to open up a lot of legal questions by going before Congress.
But boy, I mean, the NFL just keeps gobbling up open dates on the calendar. I mean, when I was a kid, it was Sunday and Monday Night Football. That was it. And it feels like I remember when they first started playing those Saturday playoff games. Am I right? Like, they didn't do that until it felt like the 90s.
Playing what?
Those Saturday playoff games.
No, the Saturday playoff games.
Was it 80s?
Yeah. I remember 88 watching Rams at the Metrodome against Minnesota. It was a Saturday, 1988.
So this was probably mid-80s, late 80s that they started that?
I think they had them in the... I'm not
Are you sure? Okay.
I remember them as a kid.
Yeah, 87, I remember watching the Jets and the Chiefs on a Saturday.
I think Cowboys-Vikings, the first Hail Mary game in the 70s. I think
that was a Saturday?
Yeah.
Okay, well, anyway. I mean, but that was pretty rare that they played on a Saturday.
Yeah. And you always got the Saturday games late in the season when college football was over with.
Yep.
But it was after the second
Saturday
in December.
Right. And now we've got Thursday night football, a Black Friday game, which, Black Friday used to be a college football day start to finish.
That's only in the daytime.
I know. That's wild, though. I did not know that law existed. But you're right. The NFL's got to be careful pushing to overturn laws.
Absolutely.
And I will tell you this, like, I don't know what they would have to get to overturn that law, but Lance, I know you were kind of asking that question, like the NFL's got all the power. But you think about congressmen that have to go back home and face their constituents whose kids and grandkids play high school football. I mean, that could...
Or college football boosters.
Yeah. And like, so you voted against us to vote for the powerful NFL.
Yeah, but I think the NFL is powerful enough. If they want to make it happen, they can pay the right people.
At some point, we will get back into the college basketball conversation. and some other stuff that's going on. LT's got trash and 4 downs, all still to come in the final hour. That's being brought to you in part by our friends at Hemp Hill. One more thing this segment after LT tells us about Hemp Hill.
Trusted name. Birmingham has trusted since 1954 for your plumbing, heating, and cooling needs. Call Andrew, Adam, Chad, the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Hard to stop a train, 205-229-2090. For more information, hemphillservices.com.
Rusty is asking a question. Rockstar does not sing a lot of country. If he did, Should Have Been a Cowboy would be one song that Rockstar sings. My buddy Shane Holcomb used to play the guitar around campfires down in Montevallo back in the 80s, and that was one of his go-to, Should Have Been a Cowboy. Great Oklahoma fan, Toby Keith, passed away at the age of 62 yesterday. Long battle with cancer. And is Should Have Been a Cowboy your number one hit, Brownie?
No. For Toby Keith?
Yeah.
You know, I will say this. He caught a lot of criticism for this song, and it is probably pretty cheesy. But courtesy of the Red, White, and Blue hit all the fills just after 9/11.
Absolutely. That's my second favorite one.
Yeah, now he caught a lot of criticism for that song.
So you're going to do the Red Solo Cup.
Nah, I was not a huge Red Solo Cup. Good As I Once Was probably would be my favorite.
How Do You Like Me Now?
How Do You Like Me Now is terrific. Yep.
Underrated a little bit. I Love This Bar is a good song.
Yeah.
A good song.
A lot of people will say Beer for My Horses, which he sang with Willie. I was not a huge fan of that song. I thought it was a little, it's a feel-good song, but I thought it was a little cheesy.
Whiskey for My Men, Beer for My Horses.
That's the line, yeah. Yeah, I know a lot of people like that song, and that's fine. I just always respected the fact he caught criticism eventually for courtesy of the Red, White, and Blue. People said it was too patriotic, too over the top, I
never heard about that controversy.
Yeah, suggesting, violence and retribution for 9/11. And he basically said, you know what, I'll sing it louder and I'll sing it more often if you don't like it. I kind of like that out of him.
Yeah, Toby Keith, dead at the age of 62. You saw the official statement there from Oklahoma. He was a huge supporter of Oklahoma athletics. A Sooner to his core, Toby Keith. We're back in a moment on TNR.
Call the Next Round now at 205-734-0923.
Hey, let me tell you about our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama. Compassionate and comprehensive urological care with 35 physicians, 17 locations across Alabama. Their patient-centered approach to all of your urological needs. Remember, they've got that new men's health center. It is beautiful, helping men with a wide range of sensitive male issues in a comfortable environment. You can always go online, visit urologycentersalabama.com, schedule an appointment with one of their many urologists today.
Let's face it, a home is one of the most powerful assets you can have, and our friends at Mortgage Right want to help you build wealth through home ownership. Mortgage Right is all about providing competitive rates, a variety of loan products, and a multitude of resources for a seamless home buying experience. They treat their borrowers like family and are always looking to bring more happy homeowners under their roof. See more by visiting mortgageright.com/TNR today and start living. That's mortgageright.com/TNR. NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender. Remember the name Way to Wellness if you're battling weight loss in your life. I'm Jim Dunaway from The Next Round. There was a time I was over 216 pounds until Way to Wellness helped me lose 45 pounds, and now for over 2 years, they've helped me keep that weight off. Here's their website, aplanforme.com, aplanforme.com. That's a great name for a website because there's no cookie-cutter plan. Everything is designed specifically for you. No contract, no sign-up fees, and your first consultation is free at Way to Wellness.
Fire damage to your home or business is something you never want to consider. Ryan Brown here from The Next Round. But in the horrible event it happens, Dry Tech is here to help. They respond quickly and will reply to you within 20 minutes when you call 205-637-0143. They're working for you, the customer, not the insurance company. They've got 5 crews ready to go 24/7. Don't call the insurance company first. Call Dry Tech. Just remember this website, mydrytech.com. That is mydrytech.com.
Hey, if you're looking for Birmingham's best pizza, you need to stop in and see our friends at Slice Pizza and Brew. It's as local as you can get, from the ingredients that go into every pizza to the beer on tap. For a great lunch or dinner, go see our friends today, Vestavia or Lakeview at Slice.
Want more of the show? Download the app or visit nextroundlive.com for the latest podcast. The Mystery Fifth Hour, our Not For All Ages podcasts like Bama and Bourbon, and the entire Double Down Media podcast family. All at nextroundlive.com and on the Next Round app.
Bandwagon wants to remind you that baseball and softball season is right around the corner, and their shelves are stocked with everything your kid needs. From grip tape to gloves to custom uniforms, Bandwagon has all the gear, big and small, for those ballpark days. Until February 3rd, you spend $100 on baseball or softball equipment, and Bandwagon will give you $20 off. Just tell them the Next Round sent you. Visit locations in Cahaba Heights, Homewood, and Trustful, or go online to bandwagonsports.com. Next Round listeners, it's time to jump on the bandwagon.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, and Rockstar. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, The Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
The power of media never ceases to amaze. For I don't know how many times this has happened in history for this one song, but yesterday the most streamed song in America was Fast Car, the Tracy Chapman version off of the Grammys, which 16.9 million people ended up watching on Sunday night, which would have been about like the most watched college football game of the year, in that neighborhood of 16.9 million. The most downloaded song yesterday was the original Fast Car with Tracy Chapman, back number one streaming yesterday.
Yeah. I brought that up yesterday that Luke Combs made her a lot of money.
Yep, and more money yesterday.
More money yesterday. I don't know what
Tracy Chapman's made Luke Combs a lot of money.
Luke Combs had made plenty without that song, though.
Okay, but
Luke Combs is one of the top acts in country music. But Tracy Chapman was completely forgotten.
Yeah, but she is the one that's credited with the song.
No, that's what I'm saying, though. But if he did not redo that song, none of this would have happened.
Yeah, but he doesn't redo that song without her originally doing the song.
Okay, I got it, guys. I'm just pointing out that it's not back to number one without Luke Combs. So that was I'm glad she's making that money, and she obviously credits him with it. You can see by her reaction the other night.
You also, you know how you get back number one streaming? If they use your old song in a commercial. If they'd put Fast Car into a commercial, that could get you number one streaming. The talking outlet, electrical outlet.
Yeah.
I instantly went and downloaded that song. I was like, I like this song.
Oh, I didn't even know what it was. Does it tell you what it is? Who is it?
I want to say Big Doe or something like that. It's a rapper, something. I can't remember now.
Yeah, that outlet can sing.
It is. It's a good song.
I'll tell you the easiest way to get to number one on the stream, and I brought this up. Remember when Missy Elliott did the Super Bowl? Like, Usher is going to crush it.
He will.
That's why they do it, right? They don't get paid to do it, do they?
I think they get paid something.
No, they don't get paid anything.
I don't think you get
Not
paid.
a dime.
Not a dime.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the exposure. There was a thought that the artist actually paid the Super Bowl in the NFL.
It'd be worth
to
it.
perform.
Yeah, it'd absolutely be worth it.
Usher has got the Super Bowl coming up this weekend. By the way, $23.1 billion will be gambled on the Super Bowl this weekend is the projection.
I watched a fascinating documentary. It was going to be my best of the weekend yesterday, in fact. And I think Rockstar, you would really enjoy. I think all of you would really enjoy it. It's called The Greatest Night in Pop. It's on Netflix.
I watched it.
And you didn't like it?
No, I did like it. It was amazing how they put that thing together.
I know.
But I was going to bring this up when I forgot what you guys were talking about. Somebody walking out.
It was Waylon Jennings.
Yeah,
No. I'm talking about, there was something else in the show, and I was going to bring up the Waylon Jennings part. And that was when Stevie Wonder tried to hijack the whole operation, which almost threw everything up.
A lot of ego in that room.
Yeah, he was like, let's sing this in Swahili. And Waylon was like, I ain't singing Swahili.
Ain't no good old boy ever sung Swahili. For those who have not seen it, it's on Netflix, and it's about, a friend of mine suggested it to me. He was spot on. It's about We Are the World. And, as a kid, it never occurred to me, how did they get all those people in the same room at the same time? Yeah, and it's a pretty cool story how they pulled it all off.
Really, because I never thought about that either.
Yeah.
Like all of these massive personalities, how do you get them one place, one time, moment in time? And to watch what Quincy Jones put together it's really amazing. Yeah. It's worth the watch.
And Lionel Richie, who wrote it.
Lionel and Michael Jackson wrote it. Yeah, Lionel Richie and Michael Jackson wrote it, but without Quincy Jones, it doesn't happen.
Yeah, but Quincy was kind of the orchestrator, obviously producing it, and it was a collaboration one too, because. And Lionel tells the story, I had to be the guy to put out all the fires with the personalities on the floor
when Quincy was doing everything from back.
I mean,
have you watched it yet?
I have, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's very good.
Yeah, Netflix, correct?
That is correct. Greatest Night in Pop on Netflix.
Our friends at Legacy, LegacyCreditUnion.com, right now, their credit card balance transfers, one of the best offers out there. And you check it out for yourself and get details at LegacyCreditUnion.com. But if you have a lot of credit, a lot of debt on your credit card, and that high interest rate, you know how hard it is to battle and chip away at that. A balance transfer over to Legacy, you can get that annual percentage rate down to 2.99% for the first 6 months. Gives you a fighting chance on paying it off. And the credit card rate on new purchases is 8.90% APR. Terms and conditions may apply. See Credit Union for details. Federally insured by the NCUA, but there's no balance transfer fees and no annual fees. It's our friends at Legacy, LegacyCreditUnion.com, LegacyCreditUnion.com. Kansas State upset Kansas last night in overtime. Tonight, home games for the ranked teams. Clemson, who beat Alabama and Tuscaloosa at number 3 North Carolina. Butler is at number 1 UConn. And in a battle of top 25s, number 23 Texas Tech at number 13 Baylor, happening tonight. This is a very, it's now for the second year, I believe they've done this with New Orleans. The weirdest mascot in sports. They only bring it out during the Mardi Gras season for Pelican home games. Take a look at this. This is King Cake Baby. And it's called the most frightening mascot in all of sports.
That's super disturbing.
It is to symbolize the baby that you get in a king cake. And it was at the Pelicans game, the last home game, and it is there during the Mardi Gras season for the second year in a row. Some fans are wanting it to be discontinued.
Yeah, I think that's probably one day's enough.
Never bring it back?
Well, it's a strange one. It's like the human legs coming out of the diaper and then the human arms coming out of the torso.
That's not an ear.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
I think that's an ear. It's a baby's ear.
Like, one of the stranger mascots to me in college football is the Kansas State mascot. It's like a guy wearing a football uniform, and they just put a Kansas State head on him.
I don't like that
a Wildcat head on him. It's a weird mascot. That one is weird, too, because of all the human elements. It's like part human, part baby.
And before LT gives us 4 downs, where does the name Jackson Holiday take you back? What city?
Ocean City.
Ocean City.
Ocean City.
Lance got the autographed card there.
Keith Law released his top 100 prospects in professional baseball. Jackson Holiday is number 1, the biggest prospect in college and in professional baseball.
Could you find that signed photo if your life depended on it?
Yeah, I know where it is.
You know where it is?
I remember when Bobby Witt made his major league debut just 2 years ago. I was watching opening day. They were playing in Detroit. And I think his first at bat, he had a single. And I was like, man, this kid's got a good future. And yesterday, inks, or 2 days ago, 11 years, $288.8 million contract. Baseball money's good, man.
Biggest contract in Royals history. And it is good baseball money. Let's do our 4 downs today, brought to you by our friends at Slice.
Yeah, created by the late Jeff Bajaya. His legacy continues with his brothers, Chris, and make sure you get in and see those guys. Chris and Jason do such a fantastic job. 4 locations right now, the original Lakeview, Vestavia, Montevallo, Crestline Park, coming soon to Homewood right there in Edgewood. For more information, slicebirmingham.com.
First down.
Faster fall, Eric Bieniemy, who was fired from the Commanders, or Tom Herman, former Texas coach.
Oof. Yeah, Tom Herman, now the head coach at Florida Atlantic, was once the Texas head coach. I would say faster fall was Bieniemy. There were a lot of people that thought he'd have the Kansas City job as soon, and he may again one day, who knows, when Andy Reid retired. Now he's fired that quick.
You look at KC without great skill. They're in the Super Bowl. So, unfortunately, I think everything Bieniemy built is kind of gone. And he was one of the hottest commodities as a coordinator just 2-3 years ago.
Turns out if you don't have a great quarterback, you're not a great offensive coordinator usually.
Yeah, it's weird in the NFL that works that way, isn't it?
I mean, I would ask you the question. Bill Belichick has fallen more than Eric Bieniemy, it seems.
Not even in the game right now.
Yeah. I mean, Bill Belichick's reputation taking on water these days.
Yeah. I mean, Jace is right. Bieniemy gambled on himself and lost. He thought, I can go to Washington and show everybody it's not just Andy Reid, it's me.
You never go somewhere where you don't have a great quarterback if you want to prove something.
How often do you see a free agent receiver do that, right?
Yeah,
They go cash in and they play for a lesser quarterback, and they never are the same.
Second down.
Bob Marley would have been 79 today.
Better career, Bob Marley or Bob De Niro?
Stretch, not calling him Robert, but
A lot of people call him Bobby De Niro.
Bob Knight.
Yeah.
I will go Robert De Niro here. Bob Marley, I mean, he's a pioneer. He sang some good songs.
Yeah, he was also an activist who changed the Jamaica and the way people were treated in Jamaica.
Did he really?
Yeah, a new movie out. One
He's a good human rights guy. Also, Bobby De Niro stopped trying in movies about 2003.
That's okay.
Yeah, but I bet Bob Marley would be doing like collaborations with Shaggy right now.
Yeah, Bob Marley, not every song he wrote was a hit either, Rockstar.
Yeah, no,
that movie looks awful.
De Niro is the answer, but not that Bob Marley did not have a great life. But then you paired him up with a number one seed. He's a 16 versus a 1.
I think De Niro was a 1 seed. I kind of agree with Rocky there that De Niro's kind of fall probably on the 4 line now, but I still would go De Niro.
And part of this too is, and this is difficult when you ask these type of questions. I understand Bob Marley's impact on society and music. If I never listened to another Bob Marley song, I'd be fine. I don't really care for his music, and that makes this difficult when you view it that way, right?
For you, yes. Yeah. For some people that like Bob Marley's music, then obviously he's higher on the scale than De Niro is.
So clearly you like Bob Marley's music.
Well, I mean, Three Little Birds is one of the greatest songs of all time.
Right time, right place.
For Bob Marley?
Well, that's what you usually say.
Yeah, I'm not a big Bob Marley guy. I mean, his music.
I'm just not a reggae guy.
Yeah, reggae does nothing for me.
Third down.
Axl Rose, 62 today. Better career, Axl Rose or Pete Rose?
Oh, it's Pete Rose, but Axl Rose was fantastic. Unfortunately, Axl Rose, I mean, both of them had a terrible end to their career. Axl Rose can no longer sing.
They
Pete
are
Rose got
selling
banned for
out
baseball.
stadium after stadium
And it's awful.
after stadium.
It is awful.
They are selling out stadium after stadium after stadium.
I see this on TikTok? I've been meaning to ask you this question. There's these videos on TikTok it's isolated vocals and percussion. How do they get that from old shows? Like it's old stuff.
The board op.
So they just save it somewhere.
Yeah.
And there was one of Axl Rose, Rockstar, recently. It wasn't just old stuff.
Oh, he can't sing anymore.
I mean, it's incredibly
They are
bad.
probably one, besides Taylor Swift, one of the and U2 highest grossing tours in the past 3 years. I mean, it's awful, but it's nostalgia. People want to. I don't care. I've never seen him before. I want to see him.
Axl Rose for me on this. I mean, excuse me, Pete Rose on this one.
Yeah, I would go Pete Rose too.
Fourth down.
Ronald Reagan would have been 113.
That's Ronald Reagan's your answer.
I'm going to disagree. Babe Ruth would have been 129. Better career.
Did Babe Ruth ever knock a wall down? I don't think so.
I think whoever was in office probably would have knocked that wall down. I'm a big Ronald Reagan guy.
You are out of your mind. His
you
strategy.
think the wall would still be up?
Potentially. His strategy in the Cold War was a genius strategy.
He's a former actor that is it's like Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'm a big Ronald Reagan fan, but Babe Ruth.
So because he's a former actor, he can't be a great president?
I'm not saying that. I think he's one of the greatest presidents we've ever had.
The greatest president we've ever had.
But I still think the wall comes down without him.
I disagree completely.
You think we would still have the wall?
Potentially, yeah.
Zero chance.
How is there zero? No, I mean, because communism doesn't work a long time, so eventually, or long term, so eventually they would have had a revolt and knocked the wall down, but he was able to do it without bloodshed. That was the genius behind it.
But Babe Ruth is maybe the most iconic athlete of all time, maybe.
I think Babe Ruth gets a little overrated, but I would go Babe Ruth in this one as well.
It's
Right time, right place.
714
Boston didn't even want him.
I mean, how good were the rest of the players at that point? Is all I'm asking. I mean, it looks like they were throwing him like they wanted Babe Ruth to hit home run.
Yeah,
they were
but he
throwing him
was
some pitches.
that much better than everyone else.
He was.
And was a great pitcher and hitter.
I felt like the rest of the league caught up to Babe Ruth at some point.
Big Ronald Reagan guy, but I think he was not even a good actor.
Oh, he's a better president.
Yeah, better president than actor, no doubt.
Well, I mean, that's a compliment.
Yeah, I'm a big Ronald Reagan fan too.
Right.
That was actually my fourth down as well.
That was your favorite Republican, right?
Ruth or Reagan.
Really? That was your fourth down? No joke.
Yeah, it was Ruth or Reagan.
How about that?
Yeah. If I had to do my 4 downs, Ruth or Reagan would have been.
If I had to do it, I just made up one after you said it. That would have been my
I had it written down right here.
I did hear Dunaway earlier say he had 4 downs.
It was their birthday today. It was the easy birthday pool. It was Ruth Reagan. I didn't have anything for Bob Marley. I would not have gone Bob De Niro. That was too easy of a pick. 4 Downs brought to you by our friends at Slice.
You got it tomorrow, my friend.
No, I'm just saying. It's hard to.
You can have it tomorrow, though.
It's hard to pair those things up and get two like bodies.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think Bob Marley and Robert De Niro are pretty close. I think if you did a poll, I think it would be close to 50-50.
I don't. I think De Niro's an easy
one.
Oh,
I disagree.
Yeah, but I never think a 16 seed is going to be a 1 seed.
Jay says, better career, Moses or Lou Gehrig? I mean, Lou Gehrig showed up for every game.
Better speech. Great speech.
Yeah, he did have a good speech.
Yeah,
Moses had a speech impediment, in fact, right,
staff,
Star?
too.
Yeah.
But Moses, pretty good when he came down with those tablets.
Parted the sea. I mean, God did it, but Moses was there. Somebody had to be the one that was standing there.
Again, what is it, Jobu that said that Jesus Christ couldn't hit a curveball?
He did say that. That is
Jesus
unproven.
Christ couldn't, then there's no way Moses could.
That's unproven. Jesus never played baseball that I'm aware of.
Did you say Slice again? Those 4 great locations?
Yeah, 4 great locations for you.
Yeah.
Local pizza, local ingredients.
Yeah, right there with our friends at Slice. All right, when we come back, Trash is coming up on the other side. A couple of basketball notes here to get you ready for the game coming up tomorrow night. The players and coaches are talking at both places today. But Rockstar, if you'll give me cut number 1, Bruce Pearl was asked after the game on Saturday on how they played on Saturday at Ole Miss, sort of sets the table for Alabama on Wednesday night. Here is Bruce Pearl.
You guys had 6 guys post double figures today. How beneficial is it to have that much diversity in scoring?
I think it's the key to our season, and I think as much as anything, as they begin to have confidence in each other now, they recognize KD can make a difference coming off the bench at any time. Chad Baker is a really, really good player that's so versatile, make plays on both ends of the floor. We took a step tonight. I mean, tonight was a step. Now we'll see if we got to take another step on Wednesday when we play the first place team. We'll be playing for first place on Wednesday in February. It's good.
Yeah. It's good. That first place team is Alabama. They've got 1 loss. Auburn's got 2 losses. Sort of a rematch of the game you saw in Tuscaloosa where Alabama won, was it by 4 points earlier this year. Mo Diabate and Jaron Stevenson are 2 guys who are starting to come into their own a little bit. LT talked about it a little bit yesterday. They get asked about how they're being encouraged by Nate Oates to pick up a little bit of the weight on the rebounding end for Alabama.
Nate Oates kind of called out that he needed more help around Grant in terms of rebounds of the bigs. Just how did you guys respond to that, and just what were you feeling tonight?
We just try to get the job done. Whatever coach tells us to do, we just try our best to try to get the job done. And try to stay productive throughout the whole game.
Yeah, I think it's just being aggressive, just going for the ball, and not letting just adversity stop us from getting what we need, and just going in aggressive.
Yeah, so those 2 guys who are starting to play a little bit better will be huge tomorrow night on the road to try to, calm down what Janai Broome, SEC Player of the Week, and Dylan Cardwell can do down low.
Yeah, look, I mean, just hitting big threes early is going to be key for Alabama just to try to get that Neville crowd out of it.
Yeah, and if Alabama wins this game, they'll be tough to track down in the SEC. This is by far and away their most difficult remaining game. And Tennessee's tough, but Tennessee obviously is in Coleman. If they win this game, especially for Auburn, who now Alabama would have the season sweep and a 2-game lead over, it will be tough to track Alabama down in the SEC. For Auburn, Tennessee, or South Carolina, but specifically Auburn. So as it relates to actually winning an SEC regular season championship, which I assume is a goal of Bruce Pearl and anyone at Auburn, this becomes a pretty critical game for them.
Yeah, tomorrow night, 6 o'clock down at Neville Arena. JohnstonRVCenter.com continues their month of getting out on the road and selling you some of the best haulers and campers and everything in the business.
Well, they got a huge inventory right now, and they just ramped up a hugely successful RV show there in Decatur and Huntsville, on the lot in Decatur and at the Von Braun in Huntsville. So now they're turning their attention to the Birmingham area. The Coleman Show on lot there, February 23rd through 25th. Same weekend, they're going to be at the BJCC. In fact, we'll be doing a show from there Saturday the 24th. And you can see everything at johnstonrvcenter.com. But if you want to RSVP, that's a good idea, because not only are you going to get great prices, but you can get up to $1,000 in additional incentives by RSVPing. JohnstonRVCenter.com/TNR. JohnstonRVCenter.com/TNR. I-65 exit 304 in Coleman, 334 in Decatur, and always online there at JohnstonRVCenter.com.
Everything Alabama, all the time. Subscribe and set alerts at Roll Tide Pods on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts.
Bandwagon wants to remind you that baseball and softball season is right around the corner, and their shelves are stocked with everything your kid needs. From grip tape to gloves to custom uniforms, Bandwagon has all the gear, big and small, for those ballpark days. Until February 3rd, you spend $100 on baseball or softball equipment, and Bandwagon will give you $20 off. Just tell them the Next Round sent you. Visit locations in Cahaba Heights, Homewood, and Trustful, or go online to bandwagonsports.com. Next Round listeners, it's time to jump on the bandwagon.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. On game day, you never have to decide which teams to watch, only what combination of bites, burgers, wings, and more to order. Plus, where else are your favorite draft beers always poured at a frozen 29 degrees? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Stick around after the sun sets. Twin Peaks is open really late. Wind down with bourbon and late night bites. Only at Twin Peaks.
Fire damage to your home or business is something you never want to consider. Ryan Brown here from the Next Round. But in the horrible event it happens, Dry Tech is here to help. They respond quickly and will reply to you within 20 minutes when you call 205-637-0143. They're working for you, the customer, not the insurance company. They've got 5 crews ready to go 24/7. Don't call the insurance company first. Call Dry Tech. Just remember this website, mydrytech.com. That is mydrytech.com.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop, rare quality, well-done service.
If renting is putting a dent in your bank account, here's your sign from the universe that it's time to buy a new home. And who better to help you through the ins and outs of home buying than our friends at Mortgage Right. With Mortgage Right, you don't have to worry about becoming a short notice mortgage expert because they do all the heavy lifting for you. They're trusted mortgage professionals, and they'll help you choose the right mortgage option and stand by your side every step of the way. Visit mortgageright.com/TNR to buy before renting runs you dry. That's mortgageright.com/TNR. NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender.
You want to look great while supporting your favorite show? You know the place to go is the official Next Round store at nextround.store. Yes, there are .store domains, and we have one. From shirts to hoodies to hats and all kinds of fun stuff, you can rep the Next Round anywhere you go. At the beach, Next Round hats to block out that sun. Up north in the winter, get you a comfy Next Round hoodie. Just need something to put your $20 beer in at a game? Get you a Next Round koozie and throw that thing in your pocket. You never know what stuff Jim's going to make me put in there next. Check it out. It's the Next Round store at nextround.store.
Back with you on the Next Round, 200 days away from week 0. This hour brought to you by our friends at Champy's Chicken. Sterling and the crew right down in Alabaster, open for lunch right now. Get by and see Sterling and that wonderful southern fried chicken. You see the picture on the screen, brined overnight. Also the wonderful sides, hand-cut chicken fingers. Get a to-go package and take it home to watch the big game coming up on Sunday. Never go there and walk out without trying the Mississippi Delta recipe tamales. Starts off with 3 tamales as an appetizer. Comes with some coleslaw. It is perfect right there on Highway 119 in Alabaster. Champy'sChicken.com. Look forward to the big game coming up this weekend and enjoying some Champy's Chicken with that. Okay, we talked a lot of basketball and a lot of college football and everything that's going on, getting ready. Don't forget our friends at mybookie.ag. We got a little giveaway going away with a simulation that we're doing on Friday about the big game.
Yeah,
right?
You can go to nextroundlive.com. Taylor has sent it out on social media as well, and they'll throw it up in the chat room here for those of you watching online, and you can just pick the side. All you got to do is give us your name, pick the side. I think we're playing at San Francisco 1.5. We are going to simulate the game on Friday, and we'll stream it live so you can see if you win or if you lose. If you happen to win, you'll be in a drawing for a $1,000 credit from MyBookie.ag, a $500 credit, and a $250 credit. We're going to give away all three there. MyBookie.ag. That'll just be free money to play right there at MyBookie.ag. We will live stream Friday after the show on our Next Round Live YouTube channel. We'll comment on the game as it is played. So you go right now to nextroundlive.com and you can get signed up for that. It is very easy. nextroundlive.com/TNRSIM, TNRSIM, and you can sign up. Super easy. You don't have to risk anything. You just watch it. Maybe you can win.
Before LT tells us about his new look hair and Dr. B, how about our new look ride? Is it good to be quarterback at Georgia? I would say it is.
Oh, I think it'd be pretty incredible.
I would not have recognized this guy, though, if they had not said who that was.
Georgia quarterback Carson Beck has recently purchased his own little Lambo, the Performante.
It's my favorite one.
Goes for a little $270,000 plus.
Well, I would not drive that on campus.
Think you be worried about getting your door dinged?
I would. Of course, if I'm Carson Beck, I don't know how often I'd be on campus.
I'm going to go ahead and tell you, I think my Stelvio looks better than that.
Do you?
Yep.
Well, it didn't cost as much, I can tell you that.
My Stelvio may be able to outrun it.
No, I would not.
Nope.
I would. My wife drives a Stelvio.
Yeah, that is a negative.
Yeah, I've been in them. I've not been in a Lamborghini, but I'm putting my money on Carson Beck. Here.
Carson's a game manager. He's not going to open that thing up like Jimmy Reckless is.
He might.
I don't think so.
Good
point. He is a Georgia Bulldog.
Oh, wow.
Tell us about Dr. B.
Yeah, that was another thing. I was telling Brown, we were walking out of a break, I don't know, about an hour ago, and we were talking about Juju getting that truck stolen. And if he flew to Atlanta,
that made no sense.
Yeah, he doesn't bring his car from the West Coast, so it's a loaner. I would think Georgia's super protective about anything in relation to cars right now.
Forster's the one that gave me that story. Forster, they're right. I mean, the whole if he flew to Atlanta, why is he leaving his car at the airport, right?
Yeah, there's definitely some stuff that doesn't quite compute there.
My ass ain't driving either. I mean, would you guys not want to be picked up?
Scott, was that potentially a car Georgia had waiting on him at the airport?
I don't know, bro.
Or you've seen in some of these movies where people actually have the bag of money or drugs in the car at the airport parking deck. So maybe his duffel bag full of cash was there.
You could just hand
maybe
it
it
to
was
him
an
now.
inside job. They thought that they were going to get the car before the duffel bag was gone.
Your ticket is C23, and everything you need is in the back trunk, C23.
Hey, for more than 20 years, women and men have turned to Dr. Beckenstein for a range of cosmetic and reconstructive procedures. He will use that experience, his advanced training and genetic testing to help his patients fully understand the procedures they are considering. Make the phone call that I made to Dr. B almost 2 years ago. Since I went to see Dr. Beckenstein, my hair is more than doubled in thickness. I do that non-invasive treatment 3 times a week, 30 minutes each time on the couch. That is it. Again, T3hair.net. Call 205-319-0316. Schedule the consultation and make sure you tell them the Next Round sent you.
All right. Trash coming up here in just a second. Basketball happening tonight. Looking forward to tomorrow night's trip down to Tuscaloosa to hang out with a bunch of the Red Elephant folks. National Signing Day tomorrow. You've got Ryan Williams moving his commitment up 2 days to actually sign on National Signing Day. And we got some SEC basketball action happening tonight as well as we get another week going off. Where's the SEC basketball tournament's back in Nashville this year, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully that stays the permanent home. Tonight, Ole Miss is at South Carolina, 5:30, on the SEC Network. Rebels needing a road win. That South Carolina team is hot. That's the early game. And late game, just in time for Kentucky and John Calipari. They're on the road at Vandy tonight in Nashville. Speaking of the city of Nashville. Trash time. Hit the big button, rock star.
A Jacksonville man just won $1 million jackpot from a scratch-off.
LT's Trash is presented by Mortgage Right. Mortgages done the right way.
Buying a home, major milestone in life. Getting it right comes down to the right advice at the right time. That's why we're proud to partner with the friends at Mortgage Right who do mortgages the right way. Call today, 205-815-9200. You can apply online, mortgageright.com/TNR, NMLS 2239, equal housing lender. It's just amazing what things go viral and what things don't.
Mm-hmm.
So in a clip that has now been viewed by more than 46
million. It's been viewed more than 46 million times. That's viral, right?
Yeah.
TikToker Christy Fitz showed herself and her husband removing the soles of their feet, or their shoes, before taking a trip to Sephora where they put them to test. Now, explaining the reasoning of their unusual fashion choices, she went on, quote, "We decided to start walking barefoot, and one of our followers had a great idea. Since some businesses don't want us to be completely barefoot, if we cut the bottom of our shoes off, it allows us to be barefoot and blend in with everyone else." Now, the TikToker admitted it was a huge commitment to be decimating her huge shoe collection, but it was one she and her husband were willing to make. She went on to say, "Our shoe collection is worth more than $20,000, but this is a sacrifice we're willing to take."
Well, that's a humble brag.
Because walking barefoot means the world to us.
I mean, could these people be any more out of touch?
Yeah, this is
a
just
$20,000 shoe collection, and they want to walk around barefoot. What a bunch of idiots!
Yeah, it's just stupid.
Yeah, it is stupid.
But with
All to get
46
views.
million views, they're probably going to monetize that, right?
Yeah, I'm sure they will, and go buy more shoes so they can cut them up. Idiots.
I really don't like being
These guys have no
barefoot
souls.
Oh God.
anywhere but the pool or the beach or the lake.
I don't even walk around my house barefoot.
I don't either. I mean, I sleep barefoot.
That's about it for me, yeah.
But yeah, I don't like walking around barefoot.
Yeah.
You'll notice this, like if you're watching a movie or TV show, you'll see somebody barefoot, and if you look at the bottom of their feet, they're always black because they're doing so many different takes, and just because you're indoors doesn't mean it's clean.
Yeah, 100%.
How about this? The manager of a Chick-fil-A at a Minneapolis-St. Paul International Airport skimmed more than $140,000 from the location in the sister restaurant, spent the money on a sex-oriented website and online sports betting, among other things, according to federal prosecutors. Timothy Hill, 36 years old, was charged Wednesday in U.S. District Court in Minneapolis with 5 counts of wire fraud in connection with embezzling that spanned 13 months until last fall. Now, Hill stole the money between September of 22 and October of 23 while collecting daily cash receipts from the Chick-fil-A and Setabello. Both restaurants are franchised by The Grove, based in suburban Chicago. Instead of storing the money in a safe deposit box as required, Hill, quote, pocketed some or all of the cash. The indictment read, in all, his scheme raked in $144,000. He spent it on jewelry, OnlyFans, and online sports betting.
OnlyFans.
He's got his vices.
Yeah. He does.
Yeah, you don't have a chance to get it back with OnlyFans. You got a chance to get it back with responsible gambling.
There is a chance. You're right.
Only a few things you can get back with OnlyFans, and they ain't good. Family-owned company that has proposed building the world's tallest flagpole in the woods of Washington County has dropped the project. I didn't know how this was going to work, Rocky. It doesn't make a lot of sense. Now, according to the Maine Monitor, they said Worcester Resources, which is based in Columbia Falls, had proposed to build a so-called flagpole of freedom that would have stood 1,461 feet tall, taller than the Empire State Building, and flown an American flag larger than a football field.
Seems a little wasteful to me.
Wind.
I mean, would it not rip it apart?
Pick that thing up.
By the way, it'd have to be a pretty thick and solid pole. That high, right?
No, symbolically, it would have stood a total of 1,776 feet above sea level. The $1 billion project would have also included a 25.
$1
billion?
Billion with a B?
Yeah.
What?
Does it have an elevator in it?
Well, it would have included a 2,500-acre park, which I don't know what's in the park.
Do you know how many
Maybe
people
a bunch of Arabian horses and waterfalls. And
unicorns, hard hats.
I mean, I hope they're charging admission to get the $1 billion back. How about, I'm just far be it for me to tell people how to spend their money. Who was doing this, Rockstar? Was it just some private citizens or something?
It's private citizen. They wanted to do it, but they're trying to find a way to give back to veterans, and this is a little overrated.
How about just give the $1 billion?
That's right. I think the veterans will take the $1 billion in cash. We can split it up among all of them.
Yeah, I mean, if every...
By the way, that Gateway Arch, I've only been through St. Louis when I lost that bracket bet.
Have you already been up in it?
Well, no, I didn't go up in it. I just drove past it because we were heading to train station, I think it was. Anyway, it was really, really tall. And to think about the flagpole of freedom would have been more than twice as tall as the
Can you imagine
Gateway
how long
Arch.
it'd be half-mast?
Keep moving.
So Richard Ray West, 37 years old, is accused of shooting approximately 127 rounds from a .40 caliber handgun while under the assumption that, quote, ninja-like people were after him on January 18th between midnight and 9:28
Good
a.m.
look at old Cuss.
Now, during the incident, West destroyed a mini fridge, a microwave, a metal desk, a television, a space heater, and 2 computer towers belonging to Robert Scavone, the owner of the J&R Cycle Shop. Now, the shop is located in the building, owned by Smart LLC. West shot through the glass front door and the glass storefront, tore down a portion of the ceiling panel and installation, shot through multiple locations on the walls and the metal garage door, broke a wooden bathroom door off its hinges and into pieces. West is charged with 2 counts of criminal damage, second-degree theft by taking greater than $1,500, possession of a firearm during the commission of a theft from building or of a vehicle, and reckless conduct.
Sir, do you want to smile? No, I'll just growl.
So Patrick Swayze, next of kin, had his brother Briar, who was Liam Neeson. This would be Hugh Laurie from House's younger brother.
Oh, wow.
The redneck version.
You're absolutely right. It's redneck Hugh Laurie.
And he's growling, isn't he?
He looks like it. That could be his. He could have said, "This is my smile."
He's got one of those itchy-looking beards.
Yeah.
It's like a foxtail on his neck.
Yeah, I don't think hygiene's a high priority for him, Lance.
Nope. It is not. I think this next one was literally planted. Veterinarians in Maryland performed surgery on a rat snake to remove a gear shift knob the serpent had mistakenly swallowed.
Whoops.
Now, the Second Chance Wildlife Center in Gaithersburg said the snake was brought in with an unknown foreign object in its stomach. Now, they said this is common in rat snakes, as golf balls and decoy eggs are often mistaken for fresh chicken eggs. Now, in this case, the object had been trapped in the snake's stomach so long that there was a hole worn through the snake's skin.
Yeesh.
Now, the object was surgically removed from inside of the snake and identified as a gear shift knob from the car. Post of the snake had now made a full recovery and will be released in the spring. Who actually takes the snake in? Like, you have to handle the snake to look at that, right?
Yeah, because the snake is not going to have a sense of gratitude and not bite you. That snake's still going to bite you.
Yeah.
I remember
you can tell it's upside down. He tried to put it in reverse, but couldn't get it to come out.
Wow. Me and older brother Shane, we beat a rat snake to death with a couple of Louisville sluggers out back.
Yeah.
When he
sounds
was
like a bloody mess.
When he was like 8 and I was 5, but we put it in a garbage bag and took it to the zoo the next day to get, because this is back before you could Google things. We didn't know exactly what kind of snake it was.
Yeah.
And the zookeepers gave us the biggest guilt trip. You know, this part of the ecosystem, and cycle of life.
But if you think about it too, like I lopped the head off a snake 2 summers ago, I think it was, last summer, 2 summers. I was coming back from getting my hair cut, and my wife and my neighbor were out in the yard in hysterics because they'd seen a big old snake. So I lopped the head off of it, right? Well, what do you do with the rest of the snake once you lop a head off the snake?
I usually put it into a garbage bag with some lime. And
I was fresh out of lime, Jim.
And, you put it on a stick and put it in your yard to warn other snakes that this was going to happen.
I put it in a bag with lime, tie it up tight, and throw it in the trash.
I did not know what to do with it. So
you put it in your neighbor's car.
I did not put it in my neighbor's car. My neighbor was one of the people out there screaming. I took it and I just dropped it in the lake, and one of the lakes in my neighborhood. I figure that's just the cycle of life, right? Fish will eat it.
Maybe.
I had a friend that thought
well,
it was...
I mean, if you leave it in the yard, their animals are going to come after it.
This wasn't long ago, going through a divorce, but while the divorce was going on, he put said rat snake on the top of her car, thinking it would be a funny joke.
Yeah, it was not. I don't think it was.
Yeah. Did I tell you about that?
He told me about that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Doesn't end up being funny.
No.
Nobody laughed. Well, he laughed.
Yeah, at some point, right?
Yeah.
Maybe eventually she laughed. That is Trash Today, brought to you by our friends at Mortgage Right.
Are you a veteran looking for a VA loan? Mortgage Right has been advocating for veterans since their company began. As a veteran-owned, operated company committed to your well-being, they can help you find the best terms available, guide you through every step of the process. Visit their locations, Highway 280, right there in Birmingham. You can apply at mortgageright.com/TNR. Call 205-815-9200, NMLS 2239. Equal housing lender.
All right, some Super Bowl props and one more thing to tell you about before we get out of here, coming up in our final segment today, brought to you by our friends at Champy's, world-famous fried chicken, Highway 119 in Alabaster, champyschicken.com. Get by and see Sterling and the crew for lunch or dinner, or get the big to-go package for the weekend games, all at Champy's Chicken.
Everything Next Round is on demand now in the podcast section at nextroundlive.com.
Legacy Credit Union has the ultimate game changer for your finances. With Engaged Checking, you can earn 3% APY on balances up to $15,000. You heard correctly, 3% APY. But it's not just about scoring with high yields. With Engaged Checking, you can get paid up to 2 days early. That means your paycheck, Social Security, tax refund, you name it, you get it early. So stop sitting on the sidelines and get in the game with Engaged Checking. Sign up today at LegacyCreditUnion.com or visit any 9 Greater Birmingham area branches. APY is annual percentage yield. Terms and conditions may apply. See Credit Union for details. Federally insured by the NCUA.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
There are so many things I love about walk-ons. Authentic, mouth-watering Louisiana cuisine, prepared fresh, daily from scratch. A great beer selection and TVs everywhere to watch the big game every day of the week. And of course, they've got 2 great locations on Highway 280 and 119 and at Hoover near the Hoover Met. Walk-ons is also a great place for happy hour, 2 to 6 Monday through Friday with $5 moonshine swirls, $5 house pours, and half-price appetizers. And it's an easy take-home experience for the family as well. Highway 280 and Hoover with walk-ons.
Fire damage to your home or business is something you never want to consider. Ryan Brown here from The Next Round. But in the horrible event it happens, Dry Tech is here to help. They respond quickly and will reply to you within 20 minutes when you call 205-637-0143. They're working for you, the customer, not the insurance company. They've got 5 crews ready to go 24/7. Don't call the insurance company first. Call Dry Tech. Just remember this website, mydrytech.com. That is mydrytech.com.
On the field or in the office, you need a solid team and a strong game plan if you want to beat the competition. Xerox Business Solutions Southeast offers everything from printers to managed IT services, as well as hybrid work hardware solutions through our titanium partnership with Dell. For championship-level office solutions, get Xerox Business Solutions Southeast into your starting lineup. Visit xbssoutheast.com/win. Touchdown!
Start your day online with our website, nextroundlive.com. The latest videos, podcasts, and college football stories. It's also a great way to stream the show or shop in the Next Round store. Stay connected by visiting nextroundlive.com. That's nextroundlive.com.
The wait is over. Tonali has arrived. Beautifully distinctive Italian styling and performance. Come test drive the all-new 2024 Alfa Romeo Tonali plug-in hybrid at Alfa Romeo of Birmingham. The all-new Tonali offers best-in-class horsepower and torque, fastest 0 to 60 times in its class, plus best-in-class range with full electric charge. And best of all, qualified Tonali leasees are eligible for up to $7,500 EV tax credit factored into your lease. Hurry down to Alfa Romeo of Birmingham and experience the all-new Tonali. Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studio. Appreciate you guys being with us. Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, Rockstar Forrester, Lunsford, Taylor Corn, everything social media. Tyler is out there working on some merch for us, and a lot of stuff happening up here. Emily Grace McWhorter out there as well.
Machine.
Bro, that's
what it's kicking boxes a minute ago.
Well, we've expanded up here, and we've got a different location in the building now too for some of our gear.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so our gear is changing locations.
Okay.
So Tyler, I think, is the captain of that committee. He's in charge of the location change. So,
see, you knew about that? I didn't know about that.
I know. I'm not saying I'm always the last to know about everything. I'm on that committee. I'm on the changing location committee. Next thing I got to do is change my location of hanging up the stuff I keep up here to stay warm. I got to find a new location for that. I got to get it out of
I did notice
Melton's
that
office.
You guys remember it used to be freezing in this studio all the time. It's not.
It's more stable now.
Yeah, they've stabilized it for sure.
Yeah, since Clarence took over. By the way, I wanted to ask you guys, I found a key in the parking lot. What is protocol on this? I've been looking for Clarence.
You go door to door and see which one it unlocks.
Yeah, I ain't doing that.
Trying cars.
Does it have a...
No, it was just an isolated key from a Lexus or an Acura.
Well, now you've narrowed it down. Yeah, it's an Acura.
Yeah, so
it's an older model because it's not a...
Here was my thought process, because we were at a park a couple of months ago, and Maddie dropped her keys.
Yeah.
Couldn't find them. And I'm like... Anybody that takes the keys with them, it doesn't make any sense, because how are we ever going to find the keys? So you've either got to find that car in the parking lot and put them on the hood, or you've got to find somebody in charge of the park.
Well, that's right.
So I didn't see an Acura out there, so I figured I'd find Clarence and give him the key. Does that make the most sense?
It makes the most sense, yeah.
Okay. But I haven't seen Clarence.
But you've had it up here now. You've had it up here now since what? About 8:45, 3 hours. So somebody's been looking for that key for 3 hours.
I need to go to lunch.
Well, I mean, I can dip out right now on you guys, but
Just go door to door.
I've walked this hall about 5 times during our show. I have not seen him one time. I see Clarence all the time. I saw him 10 times yesterday.
Well, we got into a discussion on the golf course, and my group, we always, if somebody leaves a club, we pick it up and we carry it forward because obviously it's somebody who's ahead of us that has lost that club.
And chances are they're going to double back.
So if they start coming back, we save them some time, which eventually saves us time. Some people will leave it where it is and not touch a lost club, a wedge that's left behind or whatever. But then I walked across the fairway and asked the guys who were in front of me Saturday, said, "Hey, Joe, leave a wedge a couple holes back?" And the guy looked in his bag and he goes, "Oh, that's mine." Thank you, man. So I always carry it with me. Some people leave it behind. In that situation with a key, I'm not sure I would even have picked it up.
Ooh.
Oh, you'd have just left it in the parking lot?
That's needle and haystack, though.
Yeah.
Like, I think I'm doing them a favor by bringing it in because I would try to figure out
There's no doubt.
who's making the decisions in the building.
Yeah.
But I got to find Clarence.
Yeah. I helped on that search that day in the park for Maddie's keys. The fact that they ended up back on her windshield was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Good Samaritan there.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. But I've got a lot of stuff I'm about to go into after the show, so
yeah, we got meetings all afternoon.
Turn this over to one of you guys.
Well, I'm in some of those same meetings. I'm not going to be any help.
Lunsford says, I would retrace my steps, though, and if you removed it from that path, I would never find it, which is why I would have left it where it was.
It sounds like we got some Monday morning quarterbacking going on here.
I think we do.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean,
how often can you retrace your steps through a parking lot?
Yeah. I see
and
both
by the
sides
way,
of
this is a singular key.
It is.
It's not like you've got one of these keychains that's got like a dream chaser on it or something, dream catcher.
I think that is looks to be an older model. I think they're hoping somebody would have found that key and stole the car so they could get insurance money.
Oh, interesting.
I think it's part of a scam there.
Yeah, they were probably leaving it for the person to come by and snatch it up and steal the car. So you've completely screwed up their plan, Lance. Now they're not going to get the check.
Just trying to be a nice guy.
I know.
No, they're not going to get the insurance money. You do, though, agree with Louis Riddick. I think this is the way you do the quarterbacks for the NFL draft. Louis Riddick says there's Caleb Williams.
Yep.
Gap.
Yep.
Jaden Daniels.
Yep.
Gap.
Yep.
Then Drake May and everybody else.
And I think Lewis is dead on.
All right, so how big are the gaps? Like Caleb Williams, number one.
Gap.
Yeah, but I mean, are we talking still top 10, Jaden Daniels, you think?
I feel like the only franchise quarterbacks 100% coming out of this draft are Caleb and Jaden.
But do you think Jaden's top 10? I need to pull up draft.
Oh, yeah.
But there's a lot of people now projecting Drake May or have him in discussion go number one overall, which I don't understand.
I don't understand that. I do think because quarterbacks are at a premium, either Chicago holds, takes Caleb Williams, or they trade down. If they trade down, this could be a little bit different on how this plays out. But I think you're going to get 1, 2, 3 quarterback.
Yeah.
I think it's
right
going
at
to
the
be
top.
Caleb, probably Drake, and then Jaden Daniels. But I think 1 through 3 will take quarterback.
Yeah, so the gaps aren't, I mean, maybe talent-wise, that's kind of what I was asking. I get that they're talent-wise that big. I was asking draft-wise that big. They're not big at all.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people are saying they take Jaden over Caleb, and I think that's more, and I'm just saying this because you've seen him in the SEC. And you've seen Jaden Daniels really dominate at times in the
and
SEC.
you know this is and this has been brought up before, and you know it as a USC fan. Give me the big games Caleb Williams performed well in.
He really did. And he played well against Utah all the time.
Now do that with Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, everybody.
It was everybody he played.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And I would go back and ask you guys this. Quarterbacks we've seen outside of Johnny Manziel and maybe Tim Tebow that haven't really had success, that have dominated the SEC and haven't had success in the NFL.
So
I
you're
guess Mac Jones, never mind.
Yeah,
We'll pull back.
I mean, all of them.
Yeah, Bryce
Marcus
Young.
Russell.
Yeah.
Well, too early to say
I was
Bryce.
just thinking about like Cam
Newton minus 1 year.
But Cam made it look easy at times. Joe Burrow makes it look easy at times.
Joe Burrow does now,
Yeah, it's too early on Bryce.
It's too early on Bryce.
I mean, Tua's had a good career. Tua has not been great yet. He's had a good career. He's about to cash in on a good deal.
Back to that redraft. How far do you think Bryce fell? So
hold on, Jaden Daniels 3 inches taller than Caleb Williams. Is that a fact?
That is impossible.
I don't think so.
Has he been,
well, maybe. I mean,
but where has he been officially measured?
I could see Caleb coming at 6'1" and Jaden coming at 6'4". I could see
That'd
that.
be 3 inches taller.
It just looks different.
I'm just saying Royal Payne.
yeah.
Royal Payne is usually fact. I don't fact check him all the time, but when I do, he's usually right.
I mean, it might be 6'4" to 6'1". You look at Caleb, and Caleb just looks like the more built, ready to go NFL quarterback because Jaden still, even from where he was as a freshman at Arizona State to where he is right now, he's still slim.
So 6'4", according to Google, but now this could be media. I don't know that he's been officially measured anywhere. He was not at the Senior Bowl, right, Jaden Daniels?
No, they will in Indy.
They will in Indy, but that's what I'm saying. He's not had a pro day, a Senior Bowl, or a combine, so he's not had an official NFL measurement. I will believe it when I see that. But it says on a Google search, he's 6'4", May is 6'4", Bo Nix is 6'2". I can't confirm that. I've stood next to Bo Nix. He's 6'2". And Caleb Williams is 6'1". So that's according to the Google. That is correct.
So probably Caleb's going to come a little under 6'1".
And Jaden a little under 6'4".
Yeah, but I think that could ultimately hurt Caleb too, especially when you've got a legit 6'4" Drake May.
Daniels is skinny, says Chris.
Oh, yeah, he's 100% skinny now. I don't have to wait for an NFL measurement on that.
Yeah. Yeah, if you measure, if something had to do with the circumference of a bicep, Jaden Daniels would drop
But
weight.
you know,
Rusty says the Burrow talk is overhyped. Joe Burrow's never played without the best group of wide receivers on the field. Now do Terry Bradshaw.
Well, that's where Terry gets a lot of criticism. He's in the Hall of Fame.
The thing I would say about Burrow is he just doesn't make mistakes, and like no moment is too big for him.
But Jaden Daniels, outside of leaving the Alabama game, really didn't miss much time.
No, and he took hits.
Oh, he did. And now the Dallas Turner hit, that one got him finally. But outside of that, he did not miss much time in college football. As small as he is, he was a very durable quarterback. Or as skinny as he is, I guess. He's a very durable quarterback.
Yeah, I think he's going to be really good. I never saw that. Like, first year under Herm Edwards, he was good, really good at Arizona State, and then just had a couple of throwaway years. And the last couple of years in Baton Rouge, he's been fantastic.
Yeah.
Weird question here, but if you were the athletic directors at these big SEC stadiums, do you realize how much money you have paid for Bryant-Denny Stadium, for the remodeling of Neyland Stadium, Sanford Stadium, Kyle Field, Tiger Stadium, and how little use they actually get? What would you do to fill up those stadiums? Would you use them in the offseason for anything?
I mean, they tried to do that. Who was it? I don't think it was Garth. Or was it Garth?
Garth did a concert at Tiger Stadium before he played in Birmingham.
But I thought they announced a stadium series of concerts. I'm not sure Garth was in all of them.
It was a festival. You're right.
It was, and I think Neyland had one, Bryant-Denny had one, Tiger Stadium was going to have one, and it never got off the ground. I don't know if COVID killed it. It seems like it was well before COVID, though. I don't know what would have killed it.
I remember that, and it never. I know the Tuscaloosa one never happened.
Yeah, and it was going to be big names too. I mean, it was going to be stuff that would fill those stadiums.
But it was going to be Rock the South like, where it was multiple acts,
correct,
day of music.
Yeah,
inside the
some
stadium.
organization was putting it on at all these SEC stadiums, and it was going to go to the big ones.
George Strait is going to play Kyle Field. The announcement has come today, according to the Bryant Eagle.
Yeah, I mean,
Brian Eagle.
You could do some one-offs. You could also, and I don't know how much money this would generate, but I remember when the Superdome was first open, they did paid tours of the Superdome.
Yeah, I did one as a kid. I remember that.
I'm sure there's some Alabama or Auburn fans that might pay $5 to get the, $5-10 to go inside locker rooms and below the bowels.
Now, this summer, I saw George Strait at the Horseshoe in Columbus. It was Little Big Town, Chris Stapleton, and George Strait.
Yeah.
And it packed it out. Now, they were in one end zone, so that was empty, but the rest of the Horseshoe was full.
Yeah.
So, and all the...
I thought that was his farewell tour. Hasn't he retired several times?
Yeah, he did the Texas farewell tour. So he did a concert in Jerry World, in the Astrodome, and maybe the Alamo Dome. It was the Cowboy Rides Away tour. So that's one of his songs, the Cowboy Rides Away, and he does it at the end of every concert.
Astrodome,
and that was the name of the tour.
Still open?
Huh?
Is it still standing?
It was, I think, when he did the concert, the Astrodome was still standing. Yeah. I think they have demolished it now. That's how long ago that's been.
Oh, I thought it was still standing. It was basically a warehouse now.
Yeah, because like the Silverdome is just like...
Oh,
it's kind of a ghost town, right?
Yeah, I think they finally imploded the Silverdome. But for a while, there was video of imploded roof.
The Cowboy Rides Away tour for George Strait was in 2013.
Yeah. Now keep in mind, this is Texas A&M, so this is the state of Texas.
Yeah.
So he hasn't really ridden away from Texas either.
But I think, and Rockstar can correct me if I'm wrong here, I think for a lot of these musicians, when they did their farewell tour, they might not have calculated how little they're going to make from streaming. Could that be the case?
You have your lifestyle, that you have your bills to pay, your
Yeah,
mortgage.
but you factor in CD sales and album
Correct.
sales, and then streaming, they make a lot less off that, don't they?
Oh, and you have like a lot of loopholes. Like, this is the last tour that we were playing with Johnny on guitar.
Yeah.
He's no longer. He's done.
But
He's
for
too old this.
even the big names, even like Taylor Swift, the real money is in touring now, isn't
Correct.
it?
That's the only way to make money right now. Good money.
Yeah,
Unless
so-
you're a huge name like Taylor Swift, where you can make money on Spotify, but mid-tier acts are not making a lot of money on streaming.
Yeah, so I think that's probably what happens to a guy like George Strait is he gets retired and he's like, I've still got plenty of money, but it ain't the money I thought I was going to have because of streaming. So
I just want some fairness here. You guys have killed Motley Crue and Kiss over the years for all these retirement tours and last chance to see Kiss and
I think everyone
and Motley
does it.
Crue. I mean,
Yeah.
how about George Strait? I mean, he's doing the same thing.
I agree.
He's doing the same thing.
I will not say anything bad about King George.
I know.
You can do it
I
all
mean,
you want.
You're hypocritical. Is that the word I'm looking for?
It's the word you used. Yes.
Yeah. Where you criticize some, but not
how
others.
have I criticized? I don't remember criticizing.
Last chance probably to see Motley Crue until they do their next retirement tour.
Kiss has had. They just finished their last farewell tour. Remember, that was at Madison Square Garden. They finished the farewell tour. This one's it.
I personally saw Motley Crue's farewell tour 3 different times.
Hey, trust me, I'll go if George Strait is anywhere close. I'll go see him again. It was a fantastic concert. Him and Chris Stapleton.
I love his music. Motley Crue did it all the time. 7 times, never again. Chris, I've seen him probably about 7 times. I don't know if I'd see him again now at this point.
Well, Kevin says George Strait should be doing well on Spotify just on his daughter alone. I'm just telling you, they don't make a whole lot off that, do they, Rockstar? If they didn't
No,
write
but
them.
you're also going to consider too, if you're on tour consistently, you're selling out. People are going to
That's
go back
it.
and I'm going to do a playlist with George because I just saw him. I want to do so people start to listen to your music. It's you're staying in the discussion.
I mean, it's all about touring now. You got to tour.
Yes.
And now, look, hey, you know who's never announced a retirement tour is Willie Nelson. That guy, he will die on stage.
I was thinking when I was watching that, what was it called? The Greatest Night in Pop?
Yeah.
We were talking about the documentary. And seeing Willie there, I was like, damn, he was in his 50s then.
He was only 50s?
Well, probably. That was 40 years ago.
Yeah, but he was old then.
Yeah,
absolutely. Taylor Swift, obviously, she made the announcement of her new album coming out. How's that going to work, Rockstar? She's still doing the other tour, the Eras tour.
Yeah.
And her new album is going to drop April 19th. That tour is still going to be going on.
A lot of bands, it's crazy. A lot of bands will have like a new album coming out, but they're not going. They may tease one single. That's it. We're not going to play anything for the new. Then you're just going to wait till the next tour. We keep going. I want to keep your thirst. She doesn't like publicity, though. She'll be shy about it.
How about Seth? He says, I told my girlfriend yesterday the king had cancer. And she says, George has cancer? You better marry that girl. Don't let that one go, Seth.
Literally the king of England. Seth, right? Yep, it turns out that way.
I prefer King George.
All right, that's our show today. A lot of basketball talk tomorrow from Tuscaloosa and Auburn as the Tide rolls down to Auburn in the rematch of the 2 SEC leaders right now, Alabama, Auburn, South Carolina, Tennessee in the mix as well. And, of course, we've got some basketball tonight. We'll see if Ole Miss can get right against hot South Carolina, and Kentucky tries to get right at Vanderbilt in the SEC. We're back with you tomorrow, 9 a.m. Central Time. Until next time, God bless you and God bless America.